This is Grand Admiral Thrawn, and you are entering the Wastelands.
You're listening to the Star Wars Wastelands podcast, episode 148, live right here on channel 1138. And we are, let's see if I can do math. You know, they change math. If you've seen the Incredibles 2 trailer, you know that they have changed math, so feel my pain. I think that we are 15 days away from seeing Solo. However, there's a bunch of lucky people that are going to see Solo. That's what I'm calling it. Tomorrow night. So I think that there'll be a social media non-spoiler reactions allowed tomorrow night. And I think it's probably around 3 a.m. Eastern, something crazy like that. Can't wait to see those. I'm sure you'll get lots of, this has brought me back to my childhood, or this wasn't as good as The Last Jedi, or this movie was better than The Last Jedi, and this movie was great, and see Solo now, and don't miss this, and all that. You want to sort through all that garbage and find the ones that give you a tidbit or two and really give you an idea how the movie's really going to feel. Speaking of, feeling, here is the one, the only, Saucy Salty McFizzle. What's up, bud?
What is that? No, I'm wondering that too.
I think Mondo needs to mute his car.
Might be a good idea.
Mondo, now that you got your mic working, shut it off.
yes. Let's do that again.
Might
Saucy for Jake the Snake Damon. It's McFizzle. What's up, man?
It's a salty day today, man. It just
okay. We established that in our pre-show chat, and I mean, I can't say I've paid too much attention to the news today. So why the salt?
Just poured it on thick today. I don't know. It's just one of those salty days. Yeah, you wake up, the weather's not the way you want it to be.
The weather is beautiful outside. I was at the lake with the dog today.
I know.
How's that not how you want it to be?
He wanted it to be overcast.
You have problems. The weather that we've had, okay, in, the ice storm at the end of April.
Maybe I wanted it to rain today.
Let's move on to someone less salty. Also joining us on the show today, it's the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, Mondo.
What's going on? I'm looking for my custard. I can't find them.
You're looking for your custard?
No, my customer.
That's what I thought he said. Whoa, hang on. You're going to have customers on the air with us? Are we allowed to do that?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure you're going to be, fired.
I'm gonna say that's not gonna help your rating.
This one's bad. Like, I can't find them.
That's what she said.
So you can say, oh wow.
Also, you're not allowed to make that's what she said jokes.
Also, well, why am I not allowed to make that joke?
Because.
Just because? Holy
Have you
crap,
even
you're
seen-
salty.
Have you even
salty.
seen
He
The
doesn't
Office?
need a reason.
Have I seen The Office? I'm almost through the first season.
The first season, 6 episodes.
I know. And by almost, I mean I've watched the first 2.
And
4 to go.
That's my point. You can't make that's what she said jokes.
That's what she said jokes wrote long before The Office was out.
You did, yeah, but they made them relevant.
Moving on from Mr. Salt here, who obviously had some spicy sauce tonight, to someone less salty, it is the co-host of the Backyard Watch podcast. It's Jeff reminds me of the Lego guy. Everything is awesome. Everything is cool. What's up, Jeff?
You're part of the team.
I am a little bit salty. I've just kind of hidden it from y'all in the pre-show, and it's because a bunch of video games from E3. You know, E3's in a month from now. The great video game convention. It's jolly. It's awesome,
I don't know
right?
about great anymore,
But
yeah.
But friggin' Walmart Canada decided to leak a whole bunch of placeholder games that has like legit titles, like stuff like the next Splinter Cell game, like Gears of War 5, a bunch of video games. It's like spoiling all these E3 announcements that you know. I mean, that I hope they're not true,
I'm pretty
but they
sure
probably
that we're
are.
not seeing Gears 5 until the last that I read was like 2019, maybe 2020.
Everything I've seen it says that this kind of stuff's at least true because it's Walmart.
I am so sorry.
No,
about
that's
that.
mine.
Oh my god.
Because it had me picking you up, and then it had.
I'm not sure if I should get him in trouble right now because he's on air on the radio or like he's clearly talking over us. So it's almost like grounds to say, hello, miss, and welcome to Star Wars Wastelands. I'm your host, Sage, and over there's the saucy one. You might need some salt with that or water with all of his salt. Jeff?
This is the podcast episode that has ever been recorded.
Other than that, Sage, I'm just laughing my butt off. You guys are very funny tonight, very saucy. I love it.
I'm looking at the 148 and I'm like, how much more? How much more can we actually get away with? Well, Jeff, today's a day where, you know, your positivity is encouraged. It really is. It's nice to not have everybody in a doom and gloom mood. Also joining us tonight, he is the one, the only, Jake the Snake Damon. What's up?
Hey man, I'm just over here. You know, everything I say is being salted at by somebody, and
It's all wrong.
it's all wrong. Usually we get along pretty well, you know.
That's
But,
one saucy Jake, the saucy Snake Damon.
I was
over
going to
there.
say, I would far more expect Jake and I to get at it than anybody else on here, and yet McMahon is just all over your balls every chance he gets.
Which sounds.
Could we maybe
sexual.
choose a different turn of phrase?
We got a
No.
guy working a lift job right now on the air,
That's
co-hosting with
that's
us.
fine.
I don't think we need to do different phrases.
But I mean, if there's anything I can do or say that will make Johnny feel better, I will do it.
Johnny's a good
I think what
guy.
the audience is-
Fizzle's sweet.
Oh, Jeff. What did you do to him for him to be like this? Because usually he has a reason to bust someone's balls, but
I literally just spoke. Like we're on the podcast and I said something and I forget what it was, but there was no reaction from Johnny, and I was like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "I'm salty." I was like, "Oh, okay."
well then.
That's an interesting McFizzle impression there, Jake.
Well, I did my best.
How we're going to talk about this one a little earlier than what we're supposed to, but how, like, does it change your excitement level at all for Solo knowing that the red carpet is tomorrow night, and in, I'm going to say 27 to 30 hours, you're going to, I think it's that anyway, unless they're holding off to the next morning. Usually they let people tweet about it right after they come out. You're going to see some, you know, reaction from this thing tomorrow. Jake, I know you're big on the instant media or the media reactions from movies.
Mhm.
You and I have talked about them in the past. You and I were all over the Last Jedi about them, which makes you wonder how accurate they are or not. No, either way, because there was Harloff didn't like it right away, and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people love the movie. It's some people's favorite. A lot of people hate the movie. You know, it makes you wonder how much you can read into it. But how excited are you to get at least some word to screen tomorrow night on this Solo movie?
Oh man, I'm always excited. My hype for the Twitter reviews kind of started with I don't know. It really picked up, I would say, with Captain America: Civil War, and I was just hooked ever since then. And it's just always fun seeing what people have to say about it, and just gathering a whole wide range of opinions and views. People hate it, people love it, people are kind of in the middle about it. And I'm guessing that's exactly how it's going to be within the next few days here. But I tend to look at the positive ones and hope that's how I feel about it. And really the only way for me to know for sure how I feel about it is to actually watch the movie. But it is fun to see what people thought about it.
We're gonna jump right into things here because we relate due to technical difficulties, and it's been a wild beginning of the show. There appears to be some Solo seating issues. I'm not saying everywhere, but more than a few people I've talked to have looked at their cinemas and gone, or maybe it's screening issues, not seating issues. Why is the movie only playing this many times in the first, 48 hours? And we're not talking small movie theaters. We're talking big movie theaters in cities with, 150 to 300,000 people in them. Mondo, I don't know if you can hear us now, buddy. I know you're driving the vroom vroom.
Oh my gosh.
Were you surprised with the issues that you had trying to find your Solo seats? Well, I guess Mondo's busy doing his work.
He's vroom vrooming.
Fizz, I'll ask you, because we've been to the same movie theater all 3 times. We won't be this time. Were you surprised by, the lack of screens? And that the screens that they did chose, most of them are not very big. This is locally. We're not talking worldwide or anything. Just in our town, for example.
I'll admit, mostly because of the fact we're not seeing it here, I haven't really counted the screens or anything like that. Because, we're already lined up, so I haven't really taken the time to look. But in general, I've seen this issue across the board, and I am actually pretty surprised by this. There's a part of me that says, well, it's going up against 2 other powerhouses that are still going to be commanding a fair amount of screens, right? Avengers is still going to be hot, and Deadpool is still going to be hot. So, I can kind of understand that, whereas, the episodic films have gone up against, well, nothing. They've had free reign to be on as many screens as they want. So I'm still surprised that, Disney put this so close to Avengers. Like, it doesn't make sense to me, that part. Even pushing Avengers forward like they did, still, it hurts Solo more than it helps it. And I'm still confused by that decision.
Yeah, I thought Avengers should have moved as soon as they decided Star Wars was staying in May. It's been Star Wars month for a long time, or they should have moved Solo back to December. That said, I don't think Avengers is going to be hot by the time Solo comes out. You're going to be looking at 15 to 20 million North American that weekend for Avengers. Deadpool is going to be hot. A little bit of a different audience, but because a lot of kids like to go see Star Wars, or their families take them to see Star Wars. You're not taking your 10-year-old to go see Deadpool.
I know.
Some parents did.
Oh.
My nephew pulled that off the shelf today, and asked if we could watch it. And no.
See, I would be a responsible father and be like, "Of course, son, you need to be exposed to the sins of the world now. While your mind is pliable."
But Sage, going back to how Solo is within the realm of all these movies coming out, like it's, you got Avengers before Solo, and then you got The Incredibles after Solo, so it's boxed in by other Disney movies. Like,
how many weeks after Solo does The Incredibles?
I think it's 2 or 3. It's like June 14th or something.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And yet it's breaking all these pre-sale records. It legitimately is. It was only behind Infinity War in terms of pre-sales this year. And I believe in the last 2 years, it was only behind Infinity War and The Last Jedi. So that's.
But I will say, Sage, like maybe your situation with there being less screens in your area, and maybe an anomaly or something else. Because at least where I am,
that, but in Texas, it's the same.
Yeah, where I am, it's about the same amount of screenings as it was for The Last Jedi.
According to George in the chat, Incredibles 2 opens June 15th. Gives the solo a few weeks to breathe. It'll probably be 3 weeks at number one.
I mean, technically Avengers has about a month, before Solo.
Yeah, I mean, and the Avengers fade will have died down a lot in the next 2 weeks. I mean, it dropped a lot this last week, and it's going to drop even more this week. That's why everyone's like, "Oh, it's going to pass Avatar." No, it's not. That book is gone. Even with China coming, that's not happening. I'm sorry. It might not even catch The Force Awakens or Titanic. So we'll see.
That would be impressive if it caught up with The Force Awakens.
What's that? I think 1.2 or 1.3 billion right now. But the problem is, China's the only major market left to open. They'll still, take in a couple $100 million over there. But the further you go post-release, it's harder to rack up those dollars.
And fun fact, the current official worldwide gross, Infinity War has not beaten Black Panther yet.
It will, though. I mean, Black Panther's been on a long time, and Infinity War is going into its third week.
That's true.
Let's save some of the solo ticket sales stuff till Ben gets on, though. Ben will be joining us. Also, stay tuned.
About that.
The main event of the show tonight. I don't know how some of these guys have earned a title shot, but they're getting one. Is Ben Hart will defend his Star Wars Wastelands championship in a 5-man match against McMahon, Mondo, Jake, and Jeff. And tonight's topic is exclusively, McMahon's thrilled for this, the Phantom Menace.
Preemptive formal protest.
Oh, brother.
It's too late for that, my friend.
It's a preemptive formal protest. I can do it right up until the second the first question is asked. I'm challenging on the grounds of stupid category.
McMahon has more salt right now than McDonald's fries.
That you asked why I'm salty. That's why I'm salty.
Oh, brother. Come on. You're going to love it.
Just for that, I'm going to do, next time I do one for you, State, it's going to be entirely Rogue One.
I'd be okay with that now.
You think you would?
Wait, why now?
My opinion's changed on Rogue One a bit. I've come around on it. I still think that there's some bad things in it. I still think Jyn Erso's an absolute mess. But the movie itself, when you look at it from start to finish, is I think it's more the look that I like. And then, The Last Jedi came out. You know how I feel about that. So Rogue One automatically went up in my eyes. So.
Yeah.
And it's be no different. Like if Solo's a bomb and I don't like it, and if I thought it was the worst ever, then The Last Jedi would go up. It's going to happen the more movies you get.
You're comparing these movies too much, Sage. Just enjoy it. Enjoy them all.
I don't hate any of them. I enjoy them on different levels.
Not even the Christmas special?
Next question. So
it's not canon.
It's Mondo. Are you with us yet? Or are you still driving that? I didn't catch her name, but the girl around.
Driving Miss Daisy.
Miss Daisy.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Well, we're gonna get to our top 10 then. Mondo can give his 10 later.
The important question I want to know is Mondo wearing a chauffeur's cap?
And
I feel like
now
if
a middle-aged black man.
I feel like if anyone is gonna go fully to the gills and wear a chauffeur's cap driving Lyft, it's Mondo.
Let's give Johnny Mac a shout out because he went to a Star Wars trivia contest in person across the sea, and he got third place out of 100 people. And well, he's not a staff member of Star Wars Wastelands. He's one of us. He's supported us, and congrats, man. Congrats.
In a team competition.
That's about 87 positions higher than Mondo would have gotten.
Mondo would have finished with negative points.
Speaking of countdowns, though, let's get to the top 10 countdown, which is the top 10 Star Wars villains seen in a cinematic movie. So they have to have appeared in a movie that hit cinemas.
Oh, so I can't count the holiday special
No.
or the Ewok films. Oh man,
You sound bummed out.
He's just quickly scribbling out half his list.
All right, and
Ewok
we're gonna,
films
so
have
this
some of
this
the
is the
strongest
list.
villains.
This is the list we're gonna go with. We're gonna start with Jake, and then we'll go to Jeff, then we'll go to McMahon, and then we'll go to myself. If Mondo's back by the end of it, he can read his 10 in a row. The goal is to see if any of us had the same person in the same spot. I have a feeling we're gonna have, even with this list, a little bit of a variety here. So, Jake, take us off. Number 10, man.
All right, my number 10 is General Grievous.
Number 10, Jabba the Hutt.
My number 10 is Jar Jar Binks.
Oh man.
Well, McMahon killed his list already.
The man is the most villainous of them all. I mean, he gave Palp power and smiled doing it. That's an evil man.
Palpatine was manipulating him.
He smiled while he did it. That's pure evil.
My number 10 is General Grievous.
Nice.
Back to
Number
Jake
9.
for number 9. You guys can take a couple of seconds and explain to why somebody's in a certain position if you like.
Like, I almost couldn't believe I put Jabba the Hutt on this list, but there you go.
I thought about him and I don't know if I classified Jabba as a villain. It's more
Yeah, I didn't. He's just sort of like a neutral party. You know, I mean, he's a villain to the characters that we like, but I would say he's like he would flip flop either way. I think he would do bad things to no matter what side.
He's just going where the money goes.
Yeah, exactly.
How many good
my
things
number-
have you ever seen him do?
My number 9 is Count Dooku, and you know he's a good villain. I mean, I think his background
list,
is
but higher.
delved. He's delved more into. I'd say just given the information we're given in the movies, like some of these villains have better backstories with the shows and stuff. But Count Dooku's number 9.
Jeff.
Oh, I'm sorry. This guy, I'm a little surprised I did him so low, but I don't have as much sympathy for him, and that's Kylo Ren.
And here I thought I'd have him lowest on my list. My number 9 is Jabba the Hutt. Jabba the Hutt does nothing good for nobody. He's a no good, dirty scum. He's evil. He's a villain. He's number 9 on my list.
He's a big slug.
My number 9 is Asajj Ventress.
I see what you did there.
Now to number 8s.
My number 8 is Zam Wessel.
I thought about her. Ultimately, a lack of screen time, I had to say no.
I don't know. She's just cool to me. Like, she gave Anakin a run for his money, I'd say, and she has some awesome, changing abilities there. Skin changing abilities.
Got a thing for
I don't know.
changelings?
She just, I mean, she can look like anybody I want,
She looks she looks fascinating in her true form. I wish we saw more of it. But
Yeah.
My number 8 is Asajj Ventress.
Nice.
So we were close. We were close.
Like I said, I expected to have this guy lowest on all of our lists. But my number 8 is Kylo Ren.
Nice.
Excuse me. My number 8 is Darth Maul.
Oh, good
Wow.
I'm sorry.
So-
Look. You can wield a lightsaber all you want, but when you have 5 lines and very little screen time, not good enough. Sorry. Almost wasn't even on my list.
Let the hate parade flow because he's not on my list. Mostly because I forgot about him. Because he's so
Amazing in the
little
Clone
in
Wars,
the
but
films.
we're not talking Clone Wars.
So my number 7 is Boba Fett.
You may fire when ready. Tarkin.
Air 5's Jake. My number 7 is also Boba Fett.
Nice.
I thought you said bulb fett, like a light bulb.
Yes, Bulb Fett. That is
My-
my number.
Yeah,
My number
that's from Hardware Wars.
My number 7 is not Boba Fett because he's not on my list.
Wow.
He has 5 minutes of screen time in the in the original trilogy, if that. He might not even have 5 minutes. He does nothing. He picks up an order from Vader, and he's a kid in Attack of the Clones. Don't get me wrong, Fett is amazing. There's a bunch of novels and a bunch of comics that deepen his storyline, but to put him in the top 10, to me, is a slap in the face to the other characters that made more of a role in the movies. My number 7, people are going to be like, this guy's on drugs. Newt Gunray.
I thought you said you were
So
just
what
tapping
drugs
into
are
the...
you taking?
I thought you said you were just tapping into the happy juice, not you've been
The
drinking all
happy
night.
juice is flowing
Okay,
with
think
this
about it,
one.
though. He invades a planet, okay? He literally takes control of Naboo. He is part of what happens on Geonosis and Attack of the Clones. And he even has enough balls to mouth off to Grievous in Revenge of the Sith. So, Newt Gunray, number 7 on mine. To me, it's how you utilize the screen time. And they used his a lot better than Boba's, that's for sure.
That's valid. I'll give you that. But I mean, it's wrong, but it's okay.
Next
so
person, 'cause that
mine.
one's tough.
I'm just kidding. Honestly, that's a good choice and good reasons. I never even would have thought of that. But my number 6 is Jango Fett. You know, if we're going for screen time, Jango Fett has way more screen time than Boba Fett ever had. And he's just a more interesting character, and he's the reason we have the clones, and he's just somebody's clapping. But yeah, Jango Fett.
This guy betrayed the heroic group in the most business-like and amazing way possible. It's DJ.
No.
Nice.
No. Just no.
I like
You're
DJ
wrong.
a lot.
Just
I love DJ.
DJ's awesome.
just no.
Yes.
Stuttering
Wait, did I
aside,
just
I
come
love
back?
this character.
Did I just come back to hear you say that DJ is one of your top 10 villains?
That may be what just happened, yes.
It's just business, Mondo. Come on.
And so here's what's funny is I picked this lady up and I accidentally dropped my phone, so my phone was on the floorboard the entire time, and I'm like, man, if I reach down to grab my phone with this lady back there, oh my god, this is gonna be awful.
She's probably posting right now on Twitter or Instagram. Worst lift ever.
Oh no, we had a lot of fun. Like we were talking, like she was real cool. She was drunk as fuck. I probably
Okay, let's
could've got
get
her number.
back to the list.
I'm gonna call it a hunch and say that's against company policy. Don't do that.
I can't believe I'm writing down DJ at number 6. Unbelievable. I just puked. McMahon.
My
Believe
number
it, Sage. DJ is awesome.
No.
I didn't see a DJ character in that movie. I seen Benicio del Toro again doing.
I
what
don't
he
know
always
Benicio
does.
del Toro that well. All I see is the character.
Just the
Hence
collector
why
with a different haircut.
You have to separate it. Come on,
Oh
man.
my gosh.
It was the collector with a different haircut.
You know, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Oh.
I'll give you that.
And a stutter. He had a different haircut and a stutter. My number 6 is Asajj Ventress. Hell of a lot better than DJ.
My number 6 for all the reasons Jake said. Not to mention he goes up against Obi-Wan on surface on Kamino, and that's a way underrated fight. You get a
so good.
Mando versus a Jedi fight, and people can hate on Attack of the Clones all they want, but it's so different from any other fight we see in any of the other movies. Their space battle is really, really good. Him killing Zam Wesell at the beginning of the movie is really cool, and his involvement at the Battle of Geonosis, everything, and you see him with his mask off too. Just the character is so much more interesting than Boba in the movies. And it's very underrated in my opinion. So Jango Fett, number 6 for me.
Nice. My number 5 is Darth Maul, just because he's awesome and it's way more nostalgic for me than anything else. But he's pretty cool. He was good enough where the Emperor took him on as an apprentice, and That's pretty awesome to me. So.
And apparently he's like a cockroach. He's unkillable.
Yeah. Except when he's old. And in the desert.
My number 5 is Jango Fett.
There we go, Jeff. That's better.
That is much better. You've redeemed your list a little bit.
Y'all are crazy, man.
I think your
number
top 5 should just be DJ.
My number 5 is General Grievous.
Love him in both renditions of the Clone Wars show.
Yeah.
To me,
The
I
only
love him
good thing about the original Clone Wars.
That's not a film, Sage. Come on, man.
Well, that's what I was getting to, and that's why he's much lower on my list. Is I think they missed opportunities with him in Revenge of the Sith. And no, come on, that first Clone Wars show is badass. It is.
It is.
It is awesome. Just the graphics are crap.
Wait, what?
The Samurai Jack looking one?
Mm-hmm.
See, I like that one.
Put down the happy juice.
I liked it because of the graphics.
Really? That's surprising coming from you. I'm actually stunned hearing that.
Oh, when you put that up next, because like I love Samurai Jack, because I mean it's got a great story, but I just love the visuals, and that's why I like that first Clone Wars series too. But I mean, if you put that next to Forces of Destiny, like it's not that hard to see how much better it is.
Oh, well, yeah.
You put the animation in the Star Wars Christmas special against Forces of Destiny, and it looks better.
I've given my opinion before on Forces of Destiny. Okay.
Next question.
Bottom of the barrel.
Sorry, it's my turn. Number 5, right? He's number 5.
Yes.
Kylo Ren's number 5 for me. He probably would have been like 2 or probably would have been number 3, but
I thought this was top 5 villains, not top 5 whiners.
You didn't like Kylo in The Force Awakens?
It wasn't too villainous.
I loved his lightsaber.
He wasn't too villainous? He killed Han Solo.
I still think Han turned it on himself.
Oh my God, get out of here.
He killed his poppy. I mean, look.
That's okay. You're not that bad of a guy. You just murdered your dad and let him fell off a ledge and then tried to kill 2 other people. But you're not bad. It's cool.
Wait, 3 if you
couldn't
include
kill
Chewbacca.
his mom. Okay, that gets
wow.
you some points.
That's oh my God. I admit he lost positions in The Last Jedi because
He lost position because anyone who wears their pants like that should be like 8.
Now, can I ask an honest question?
No, ask a lying question.
Okay. I obviously I missed a lot of the lists, or half of it. Was Snoke on anybody's list?
No.
Nope.
I'd say there's a high probability Snoke's going to be in the top 5 of Jeff's list. Just
see that's where I was going. Like he's got DJ.
Call it a hunch, but I think we're going to hear Snoke's
What's
name
he do? He appears as a hologram. Hang on. He picks Rey up, so you gotta love you gotta love having an escalator.
And he puts her in a wind tunnel.
And don't forget, he sparks Kylo Ren the one time. Gotta watch how you touch those batteries.
But Andy Serkis's performance is so good, Sage. You got it. Why don't you see it?
Andy Serkis is amazing, but
he is.
But no, he is so terribly misused.
It was a waste. It was like there's nothing like Snoke could have been a great villain, I think, but there's nothing to his character.
He's number 1 on my top 10 Star Wars missed opportunities list.
Have you guys ever noticed that they literally gave him a butt crack for a head?
You know, I never thought about it that way, but thank you. Now I will never be able to look at it any differently.
So when I was watching Star Wars at work on Friday for Star Wars Day, it came up and it was like on a projector, you know, like the TV kind of projectors like they have in offices. So the frame rate was absolutely terrible on the movie. So it kept stuttering on like the Snoke parts for whatever reason. And I'm like, they gave that dude a butt crack for a head.
Oh my gosh.
Snoke had such maddening potential to be this amazing Force user, and they made him out to be like the Brooklyn Brawler from wrestling. It's like, he can never turn against me, and now I sense you ignite the blade and strike down your true enemy.
Okay.
Like,
Are you sure you want to go for the Brooklyn Brawler? Because that sounds like an Ultimate Warrior promo.
Okay, Sage, isn't Palpatine the same way before we got the prequels?
well, you can't say that because we have the prequels.
Can we hang up
Before
on
we
Jeff?
had the prequels.
Can we hang up on Jeff?
Were you around?
1983, did
Were you
everyone
around
think,
in
"Oh, Palpatine sucks"?
1983?
Can we hang up on Jeff?
Can
we do that?
It's 2018,
I will say-
the year after
okay,
The Last Jedi released.
I will
What do you
say.
think we're like
So,
in
hang on. Do
84?
you not like the prequels? Are you one of those prequel haters? I never thought you were.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that, why didn't
Right, but that's
people
what the
complain
prequel
about
haters
this
say.
in 83?
Because there was no prequels then, and I'm probably.
Hold on a
pretty
minute. Prequel
Palpatine
haters.
died.
Not all prequel haters hate Palp.
I hope not. He's the second best part of those movies.
I'd say
How is Palpatine in the original trilogy without prequels? How is that different than what Snoke is like here? We could get a Snoke prequel trilogy.
You're right. Okay, you're right. But think about
But
think about it this way. Even in the 1983 movie Revenge of the Jedi, Return of the Jedi.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay, he electrocutes
exactly.
Luke constantly.
Palp
And then
didn't get beat by
he's
schoolyard trickery.
so strong that when Vader throws him off the balcony for the all of 6 seconds he electrocutes Vader, it's enough to kill him. The guy we seen kick everybody's ass through the whole trilogy dies from 6 seconds of lightning.
No, Darth Vader died because he lost the will to live.
Like, no, but okay, so Jeff, I see your point. Okay, I do, but to a point, I guess, about how we can maybe get like a Snoke prequel, right? Or like some sort of background.
They do
info
that, and I
on-
might change my mind. I'm leaving it open.
But the problem is in the movie and a half that he had, right? In this trilogy,
So all of
He
8
was a-
minutes.
he was a hologram, and then he gets sliced in half. He's basically not much different than the deli ham at the deli at the grocery store.
And the worst part is the expression on his face after he falls in half. Like
he
his
looks-
tongue is
Oh,
hanging
no.
out.
I've been nested.
I was supposed to be great.
It was kind of funny when I was in Texas for Jedi Pod
Mhm.
last December. It was like right after the premiere. I was telling Dominic Jones about this, and I'm just like, we were doing our podcast, and I'm just like, I don't think that was a good scene. That was too fast. And then Dominic was all like, no, that was like one of the best moments in the movie, dude. That was so awesome. So
Well,
it's changed my mind a little bit since.
Dominic loves everybody and everything.
I
Um,
love everything.
So, like, I know we need to finish our list here, and we're gonna.
Is that what segment we're on?
We need to skip our Boba Fett, but it's nice to get into some
basic-
natural, organic conversation here. And I got to watch how I say this because God forbid someone jump down my throat again on air. Don't you think we deserved better since we got Andy Serkis? Like, don't they? Like, to me, it's a misuse.
Don't
We
tell me what I
deserved
deserve.
better. Oh God. Oh God.
No,
I can't.
you know what? You know what? I'll agree, and I'll even say the same thing about Del Toro. Is they brought like these amazing actors in, and they gave them absolute shit roles. Like they really did. And Snoke could have been something fantastic. Now you were talking about, like I think it was McMahon who just said number one are like misused opportunities. Like to me, that's Snoke, because here the Star Wars fan base for 2 years.
Here's the problem, and I get what you're saying, Mondo. This film is, I agree with Johnny Mac in the Mixler chat here. It is not about Snoke. It is more about Kylo Ren. He has
Which
more
makes-
emphasis than Snoke. This is more of a Kylo story than Snoke.
You're right.
So-
You're right. And if they would have played it out that way, I would have been all for it. But instead, Kylo can't pull the lightsaber from Rey. who is arguably more hurt than Kylo, since Snoke did that thing to her, is probably more exhausted. And then Kylo's made to look like the biggest bitch in the world on Crate. It's like, oh, it's projection, Luke. Crap. And then he freaks out. And it's just like, to me, if let's say, this is why I don't agree with projection, Luke. And I'm going to touch on him a little later. But why couldn't Luke have just found a way there and actually had sacrificed himself to Kylo, much in the same way Obi-Wan did to Vader? Instead, he was made to look like a fool. Like, did you honestly leave that theater going, wow, Kylo Ren is, well, how are they going to survive him? To me, it's like, oh, wow. Wow, look at you.
You're a little bitch.
Well, exactly, because, and I even said this before, too, is with Kylo Ren, the first thing that he does when he sees Luke in this movie, in Episode 8 movie, is he doesn't want to go down and face him. He wants to fire all the toys at him first. He wants to take the easy way out.
Yeah. So the villain has to lose, Sage. Oh, come on.
Yes.
Come on, Jeremy.
Yes, it
Why?
does.
The villain has to lose?
I'm
really?
sorry. Did anyone in this
Empire,
group,
Revenge of the Sith?
Did anyone in this group not go and see Infinity War? Like, did the villain lost? What?
And I take Johnny Mac's chat comment. He's like, they're yin yang, they're equal, total balance between Rey and Kylo. I get what they're going for there, and I agree. However, that doesn't mean they need to be equally balanced the entire time. They can balance each other out at different times. And to me, the movie just didn't end dark. I think if that movie ends dark and it's not happy, joy, everybody's smiling, Broom Boy, everybody's on the Falcon, it's like, one, Han died, 2 days ago? Two, now Luke's dead, so there goes two of your biggest supporters ever. Two of the galaxy's biggest hero, 48 hours. And oh yeah, by the way, the Resistance is gone too. But everybody's smiling. I feel like Kenny Baker on during Empire of Dreams, and he's moving his arms and he's smiling. He's like, look at me, I'm so happy. No, to me, I love Kylo Ren. They fucked that character up.
Episode 9 will provide redemption on Kylo Ren. Sage.
I hope so. You know what would be amazing? Is at the end of Episode 9, Kylo Ren wins. And let's see, go, well, wait a second. The good guys didn't win? Well, will we get a continuation of the story? Why can't the bad guys win next movie? I'd be all for it. Because it didn't feel like they won this movie, even though they supposedly did. Anyway, number 4, Jake.
Alrighty. My number 4 is Kylo Ren. Because he, whether he's a whiner or not, is such a much better villain than Snoke, period. Just in my opinion, but I think objectively. He just has. He has a very interesting backstory. Like, a thing for me that gives villains a good, a good presence and just a good character is a good backstory. He can't just be bad for the sake of being bad. Like, he has a past.
What's his backstory?
So Kylo's backstory is that he is.
I'm just wondering.
Fledgling Jedi who, in The Last Jedi, Sean, we get to see had some conflict with Luke there and questioned everything. And
see, because I thought Luke snuck into his thing and made it look like he was going to murder his nephew in the middle of the night.
I mean, that's pretty much what happened.
Well, I mean, if I woke up and saw an uncle carrying a lightsaber and ignited in my face, I'd probably think he was trying to kill me too.
Yeah, me
that's
too.
what I'm saying. I'm saying with, yes, Snoke kind of sucks, but he had a hand in making Kylo. But if I was Kylo, I could not tell you right now that I wouldn't think the same thing Kylo Ren thought and maybe go, oh, what about going my own way where I'm not questioning everything?
He's still my favorite character in the new trilogy. But J.J. Abrams has some...
it's an uphill climb.
Yeah. And I don't think you can climb out of it unless Kylo survives 9.
Episode 9 in general is an uphill climb for Abrams.
It is. It is. Jeff, number 4.
Oh man, we were just hijacking this top 10 tonight. Number 4 is Darth Maul.
I thought he was about to say Snoke. I really did.
Snoke's gonna be a top 3 for Jeff. I'm calling it. My number 4 is Count Dooku.
My number 4 is also Count Dooku.
Ding 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 ding. My number 3 would be Tarkin. He great actor playing a great role. I know we see him in Rogue One too, but so he gets 2 movies really to kind of flesh out his character. But everything we see him do is very cold, calculated. He doesn't care about other people's feelings. He's not a loving person. He's like the definition of cold, empirical head figure, like a Nazi general. He will destroy your planet without a second thought, even after you give him the information you want. And he is just awesome, and I love Tarkin.
Number 3, that's what we're on now. My number 3 is Count Dooku.
Wait, hang on.
Oh no. Oh no.
We're getting dangerously close to number 1 there, Jeff.
I love Jeff. I think Jeff is...
Do you really? Come on, man.
I do. You are... I'm not a big fan of your hockey team, but...
I'm not a fan of yours.
Most people aren't. You're such a positive inspiration to everybody. You are. People should look at life more like you do. And I think the world would be a better place, and I think that's the best compliment I could ever pay anybody. That said, I count only 2 available spots on your list. And I haven't heard Palpatine yet. I haven't heard Vader yet. And I haven't heard Tarkin yet.
You heard Tarkin.
Hello. Hi.
I don't have to... Oh, wow. Tarkin.
This is the best.
So we did. He said Tarkin. Jeff, you're a very kind human being. Let's move on. Fizz.
Okay. I'm just going to put on my my helmet here because I'm anticipating things being thrown at me. My number 3 is Darth Vader.
Yeah,
How is it not number 1?
I think he could be anywhere in the top 3. No, I'm assuming I know who you have 1 and 2, and I'm not going to complain about that.
It's just a question of what order, but you probably do know my.
I think all those 3 had to be in the top 3.
I concur.
I think so too.
And I don't mind Jeff having Dooku in number 3. I thought he didn't have Tarkin at all. I'm like, wait a second. If he says Snoke in the top 2 spots, and somehow we missed 2 of Palpatine, Vader, and Tarkin, I would have. Oh my god!
I'm sorry if he says Snoke in either of those 2 top spots, regardless, and one of those 2 aren't on there, then I'm just hanging up on you, Jeff. I'm telling you right now.
We're gonna be joined by Ben Hart in a second. We're gonna have to shift the schedule around.
In all honesty, Jeff, if Snoke is truly one of your top 2 villains, I respect you for that.
Ballsy pick. That takes
anybody
balls to do
can
that.
Anybody can think what they want, and I respect that.
I respect having the balls to do that. Fizz, number 3. Oh yeah, you said Vader. My number 3 is Tarkin. Which brings us to the Snake Damon, number 2.
All right, so I'm sure for everybody, maybe Jeff, I don't know.
We have a chance to score on these.
The top 2 were pretty close, and it's very. There's a big chance we could all have the same order. Big chance everybody's kind of just flip-flopping all around. But I had to come down to a decision, and that's why I put my number 2 as Supreme Leader Snoke. No, I'm just kidding. But I put the
trying
Emperor.
to pull a Jeff here?
Jake goes Palpatine at 2.
Emperor Palpatine. No explanation needed, really. He's just one of the best villains in cinematic history, period.
Yep. Jeff?
Number 2, Darth Sidious.
Palps gets number 2 for Jeff as well. Got a trend going on here. Fizz?
Well, trend broken. My number 2 is the Grand Moff Tarkin.
Wow. Wait,
Yeah.
over Vader?
Yes. His kill count is considerably larger.
And my number 2 is Darth Vader.
Vader. Wow.
Tarkin has the highest kill count in the entire saga. Okay.
I never thought of that.
Did nobody realize that Vader's number 2 for Sage?
Wait, what?
Number
Oh
two.
no, you're like Harloff. You love the Emperor.
Oh, for sure.
Nothing
I
wrong
mean,
with that.
you know,
He could have
it's-
easily been my number one.
It's his 6 movies, in my opinion. So
Yeah, that's true. My number one then is, of course, the young boy from Tatooine, Kitster. No, I'm just kidding. It's
Luke's not a villain, Jake.
Sebulba.
yes, that young boy.
Lotto.
Pretty much anybody from Tatooine could be number one.
So Luke?
Darth. Are we sure there aren't any other Sith Lords from
Jeff?
Tatooine?
Jeff, what do you got at number 1?
Okay, John Back's saying nobody picked Krennic. I almost put Orson Krennic at number 10, but I think
I
Jabba's
might have
better.
kicked someone out for picking Krennic.
Man, that's a
Anyways.
good point.
Well, I mean,
Number-
Krennic did supervise the creation of the Death Star. I mean, that's a
Kind of.
Tarkin
villain's thing.
supervised the creation.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, but Krennic was the guy hands-on.
Darth Vader's my number 1.
Fizz.
Oh, my number one is the amazingly portrayed character by the great Ian McCormick. It's Sheev. Sheev Palpatine is number one.
Sheev.
And
Sheev.
for me, Palpatine's number 1. You know what? You wanted to do something just over the top insane in 9 is have like Palpatine walk out of the shadows and be like all raggedy and messed up from the explosion, and he somehow survives, and he's like, if Maul can do it, I can, and he kills everybody, and he sits on his throne, and that's the end of the sequel trilogy. Palpatine, the winner. No, not going to happen.
And the way he killed Mace Windu was very epic.
Or did he?
Oh, no.
Mondo, really quickly here in less than a minute, if you can. We got to move this thing along. What's your top? Did you have a list of 10? Mondo?
It is a list of 10 people.
He
dropped
dropped
the
phone.
Tonight.
I think
Mondo-
we've lost Mondo to the lift again.
Well, we're going to move the Outer Rim to the end of the show. I know there's some topics Jake wants to tackle in there. If Jeff can stick around, that'll be great. We have Ben waiting here, and we know Ben's usually on a time limit, so we're going to move up the Star Wars HoloNet news and the trivia and then do the Outer Rim at the end, as normal. Just it wasn't scheduled that way today. And we'll get in Mr. Ben, the Hitman Hart, in a second.
I can't allow that nickname. That
No.
nickname does not. No.
We'll stick to the caveman, Ben the
Yeah.
Caveman Hart.
Yeah,
Yes.
he can't be a hit.
What nickname?
Okay. Joining us now, he is the founder of the Star Wars Underworld and the co-host at the Intergalactic Peace Coalition. It's one Benjamin Hart.
Thanks for answering my call after like 20 minutes of making me waiting. Hey guys, how's it going?
Did you send me a
Shots
message?
fired.
I don't have anything.
Throwing shade.
I was
Shade is my business tonight, Ben.
Oh,
Now
Ben
you're the
did
target.
message me. He said
No,
ready whenever.
McMahon Salt is your business tonight.
Oh, Salt. Do you want to go on the list?
We're gonna
Okay,
leave
then.
McMahon downtown Toronto with no phone at like 1 a.m. in the morning in 2 weeks. So, if he's salty,
Oh boy.
see, no salt now. I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy.
I was gonna say,
Paul's-
I think I'm safe either way. I can be as salty as I want. That's not happening.
Oh, I don't know about that, but let's continue. Star Wars HoloNet news this week. Ben's joining us. He can talk about the news. He might know about most of it. It's kind of his job.
I may not. Who knows?
So first up, let's talk about the solo ticket sales, since this happened after we went on air last week. Doubling up Black Panther in the first 24 hours in comparison to Black Panther's 24 hours. Ben, I know you've grown more positive about this movie as we go on, despite what the chat says. Are you a little bit surprised that we might be looking at a $200 million opening weekend for a movie that, let's be honest, even the people that are overly positive are kind of like, we really didn't need this movie?
I'm just glad for all the boycott people. Boycott Solo. It worked. It hit them in the bank. It's thing. They boycotted, and the movie made twice as much money prior to sales as Black Panther, which is arguably one of the biggest films of the year. The boycott worked, people. So I don't know. I don't crunch numbers very much, so I couldn't tell you what this thing's gonna make coming out of the gate. Like, I know there's going to be, it didn't make as much money in Force Awakens or Last Jedi. It's a failure. So those people are coming, but for the most part, I don't know. I mean, I think it's going to be interesting to see how it goes because, just word of mouth. Like, what's the buzz going to be? Like, I'm curious, is it going to be, oh, it's okay, oh, it's great, oh, it's terrible, oh, it's beyond expectations amazing. Like, I don't know what to expect right now. I don't know. I'm expecting okay. I'm expecting above meh. I'm expecting a above meh reaction. Like, people that love everything are gonna love it, and people that hate it, everything are gonna hate it. But this kind of the middle ground of what's the general audience gonna think, and are people actually gonna general people, like not just Star Wars fans, but are general people gonna want to take their families out to see this movie? Like, it's very middle of the road. Like, people can understand where this is. It's a young Han Solo movie. It's before he died. Like, it's before he had a kid that murdered him. Like, it's pretty easy. Like, so I'm
that wasn't
intrigued.
that bad of a thing.
Pretty easy.
So, sorry, multitasking, failing at multitasking.
Yeah, but multitasking never works.
That
in
is why
podcasting.
you fail.
What a failure.
So we're gonna jump into this. A couple of solo clips came out. I did ask everybody to watch them ahead of time. We had the one with Chewie and Beckett, which is played by Woody Harrelson, and the board, and then we had the other one where Han meets Lando. My hype had already grown for this movie. I really liked, most of the trailers that they've done. Each time it seems to get better. But after I seen these two clips, I was utterly blown away. Now, that doesn't mean the movie's going to be amazing. That doesn't mean I'm going to think the movie's the best thing ever.
What kind of blown away? Like the good kind?
Oh, for sure. I was almost upset about how happy I was about seeing these clips. I was like, no.
I actually love something for the change.
I was like, no.
My image is ruined.
Hashtag Sage loves everything.
Trending on Twitter right now.
my expectations went up because of it. I'm like, no, I was trying to prevent that from happening, and I friggin' love everything I seen in those two clips.
Get ready, folks. Sage is going to be disappointed on May 25th.
Ben.
Have you guys also talked about the one that really was released on Jimmy Kimmel? The one with Beckett, Val, and Han?
No, we haven't talked about that one, but I've seen that one.
Did you see that one? That one is my personal favorite to me because it just establishes the relationship between these characters. I was been speculating, and if you listen to the Star Wars Underworld podcast, you know all about this. They're like, oh yeah, they're old war buddies, and they get together, and then they escape one time. This blows all that out of the water. Like, Beckett and Val are there to steal something or whatever. They've infiltrated the ranks of the Imperials, and Han's like, hey, you guys, I want in on this. And and Beckett's like, break his neck. Like it's so like, it's funny, but very dark, and like it throws the whole, like, it's a really interesting premise. I really got me intrigued and excited about the movie because I'm like, okay, this opens up a lot of different possibilities between these characters, and they're all talking about betraying one another. Like in this clip, they're not even friends. Like Beckett's basically tells Val to kill Han, like right off the bat. So that's got me really excited. And the legit clips are great too. Like I love the whole holochess thing, and people are kind of like, oh well, Chewie doesn't know how to work. Like he's never seen Jar before. Like it makes sense. Like he's an angry Wookiee when he loses, and of course he's gonna go just wipe his hand across the thing, and he can't do anything. So he's disappointed. So I just love that whole scene, and Woody Harrelson is being Woody Harrelson. He's just trying to talk. I guess he's the only person that's lost or won against a Wookiee and not lost an arm because he's such a smooth talker.
That's the lesson. That's the lesson he talks about at the end of the clip. You learn something. Yeah, let the Wookiee win or I'll rip your arm off.
I think my favorite out of all the clips was the part where Han's meeting Lando, and they take a couple of things that have been debated about for years in Star Wars fandom. And, he's like, okay, I'm Han. What's it, Sabak? And Lando's like, it's Sabak. And everybody's always, is it Sabak or is it Sabak? And then Lando calls Han Han, just like he does at Empire. And Han's like, it's Han. And just the way it played off, I'm like, oh my God.
We now realize
that
that's
Lawrence
an inside
Kasdan
joke?
Yeah, now we realize, they've had this conversation before, and he just does it to get at him.
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Jake, how do you feel about the clips? What do you want to point out of any of them?
Oh man, I loved all of them. Like any nervousness I've had about this movie, a lot of it went away just from seeing Alden actually act and be Han Solo. And to me, he's very believable as a 10 years younger Han Solo. And the way he carries himself, the way he talks, all of it, I'm like, yeah, I'd buy it. Love seeing the interactions between the characters. Loved seeing Lando. Lando was a huge standout to me too. Like Donald Glover, man, he's gonna knock that out of the park for sure. The Sabak scene was great. I really loved the Falcon scene too. Very funny. I think Beckett's gonna be I hope he's gonna end up being a fan favorite. We'll see what happens with his character, but it seems like he's gonna be pretty likable, pretty awesome, at least on the surface. And I love Woody Harrelson. And yeah, Ben, that clip on Kimmel was great too. It kind of gave a little sneak peek as to like how these guys meet, and it seems very organic and awesome. Kind of shows you that Han's pretty sharp and he knows what to look for, and knew right away that those guys weren't Imperial officers. And everything, like even if you take away what the scene's about and just kind of look in the background and just like the Sabak table and just the aliens, and there's a shot in the Sabak scene where they cut to this one Embo looking guy with the dish for a hat, and he just makes a few noises or something, and I'm like, man, that's just so Star Wars. Like I just feel way warmer toward the environments and the characters and the backgrounds and things in this than I think I've felt watching any of the newer movies. So I'm excited.
Fizz? Oh, sorry, Ben. Did you have something you wanted?
No. I was just agreeing with everything he just said.
Thank you, Ben, as you should.
For me, the things that I've seen in the last 10 minutes, it was that hollow chest scene. It tickles me to my core that this is Chewie learning the game, and that rage of trying to flip the pieces off the board for him to respond. It's a hologram. It's it's those moments that I both am happy to see, yet at the same time would almost have rather not seen it until we're in the film, so that laugh is 100% real. Not that it's not going to be. It's just, it's hilarious.
Mondo, have you had a chance to check out the clips yet, man?
I have not.
Fantastic.
You're a lot of help.
Well, like, I haven't been home.
That's no excuse.
At least these clips only came out today.
Yeah, like I haven't been home since like 6 o'clock this morning.
Well then.
So I have a comment, Sage.
Yes, please do.
I'm wondering if I forgot his name. What?
If Snoke is in the movie, is that what you're wondering?
Snoke rules everything. I forgot his name. He was the behind the scenes guy. I think his last name is Tippett. I think it's Phil Tippett. He made the hollow chest scene in A New Hope. And I remember, when it had the holochess had a cameo in The Force Awakens. In the credits, in the end credits for The Force Awakens, it has Tippett Studios, like his studios in there, who made the holochess. So I'm wondering what kind of work they did, like if they worked on the holochess in Solo, and they worked with ILM for that. But other than that, I love Alden. He's a good Han Solo. I think he's awesome.
Well,
Yeah, it'd be cool.
Oh, go ahead, Ben.
Well, I was gonna say, like, it'd be cool if they did. I'd be willing to bet they brought back Phil Tippett to do that, because he did it for Force Awakens. Despite, I mean, the guy really should be in a jail somewhere, because he has, he was the dinosaur supervisor in Jurassic Park, and the dude has a lot of blood on his hands. I'm just saying.
Oh my gosh.
I can't tell if that joke was funny or just way too cheesy.
Both.
So, like, for me, you hear people, that's not my Han. Boycott Solo. That's not my Han.
It's a fictional property. Of course, it's not yours.
And it's like, look, for all we know, we're gonna go see the movie, and the best Han parts we've already seen in the trailer. That is legitimately possible, but yes. I would not bet on it. And from what we've seen, which is all I can judge, this dude looks and feels like Han Solo 10 years before A New Hope. He's not going to be exactly like he is in The New Hope. He has to have room to grow. And it seems like every little bit of, like, as we get closer to the movie and they keep revealing more material, the more and more he's like Han, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. The whole, like, I don't get the argument that he doesn't look like Harrison Ford, because I've always thought he did. But at the same time, like, look at all the recasts throughout history. Like, Chris Pine really doesn't look like William Shatner. Like, realistically, he really doesn't totally act like him either. But he's freaking brilliant as James T. Kirk. And he nails that role, and he just made it his own. And Alden Ehrenreich is not the case in that scenario. I think he is nailing it from the perspective that he does look like Harrison Ford. He is nailing those mannerisms. There's things he said, things that he does in that clip I mentioned earlier. But the way he smiles, all this kind of stuff, like, you see where this guy's done his homework. He's watched probably a lot of Harrison Ford movies, and he's got it down pat. He's making the role his own. That's not to say that he's doing a Harrison Ford impression like some people. But I think he's doing it perfectly, because he's like, okay, I'm doing a younger version. Yeah, he doesn't look like Harrison Ford because this is 10 years prior to that. He doesn't exactly act like the Han Solo we know because this is 10 years before. Like, come on now. He's a different person. He's a different character. So Alden is, I think, in good ways and in small ways, is making the character his own and letting the character grow in reverse order, really.
And, and kind of like an example of that, in my opinion, is in the trailer, he says, I've got a good feeling about this. And he's like really happy and really excited. Versus, the famous, I've got a bad feeling about this. Like, this ain't going to be good, but whatever. We're going to do it anyway. Give it the old college try.
Yeah, for me... Oh, sorry, Dom. Wow. Mondo, go ahead.
Good grief.
I just felt like that's like a really good parallel, and it really backs up what Ben just said.
I think that we got spoiled with Ewan McGregor's take on Alec Guinness, because they literally had... He looks like younger Alec Guinness. They talk about it in the making. The triangle on the face, the area that they look to, is literally identical. And I think we got spoiled there. I don't think, like I see JD in the chat, you're never going to convince everybody that he's Han. But I'll tell you what, for me, it's already better than I thought he could have been. Because I was so on the casting. Yeah. Now, we'll know in 2 weeks if we're wrong.
But I also think to an extent, too, right? Like, I don't necessarily think, at least for me, in my mindset, you don't have to sell me that he's Han, because I already kind of believe he's Han. To a point. You know, I just don't want a whole lot of fans to go in and come out because he wasn't Harrison, because he wasn't Ford. Like,
No, nobody's Harrison.
Yeah, exactly. Harrison Ford's a special kind of something.
Yeah. And I feel like that's the one thing that fans are going to absolutely say after this film, and I hope that I'm wrong. But I'm terrified that what fans are going to do is they're going to come out in 14 days, 15 days, and they're going to say, well, he was no Harrison Ford. I don't know what all the hoopla was about. I mean, that was no way Harrison Ford. And I've said it before. I think I've said it every week for the last, 3 or 4 weeks that I've been on. The movie's not titled Ford. The movie's titled Solo.
Yep. Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. We need to keep trucking along here, though, guys. So we're going to go around the round table here, or the star table. There's 5 of us, I suppose. Or maybe it's an octagon.
Table?
Sure. I want you guys to give one character cameo you want to see that we don't know about yet in Solo, and one that you absolutely do not want to see. Ben, we'll start with you.
Of course, me. I would love to see Boba Fett. I think it'd be perfect. I think it would work with the story. I probably don't want to see Dr. Evazan and Ponda Baba, even though it would probably work better than it did in Rogue One. But they just goofed it up. Just leave them to the side, let them be their own thing, and don't try to shoehorn them into this movie too.
Fizz?
For me, I want to see Palp. I feel like this is a film that finally gets us into what it takes to join the Empire, and who better to be part of, a training video than the Emperor.
A training video.
I would love to see that.
Welcome to the Empire Training Series.
The only,
would be cool.
And who don't you want to see?
Who don't I want to see? I don't want to see Vader.
I think there's more of a chance to see Vader than Palp, in my
opinion. I think there is too, but I want to see the other way.
See, I just feel like the Thrawn, not that canon apparently matters to these guys half the time, but we already have multiple novels that suggest Palpatine pretty much just stays in the shadows and does not ever show himself in public anymore.
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't be against it. Bring me on some Ian McCrimmon.
I'd be okay with it as long. Yeah. I mean, getting Ian McCrimmon back would just be fantastic.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Welcome
be like, oh my God!
Episode 2: How to Miss Every Shot. Step
Jeffery.
1: Don't look at your target.
You know what? Realistically, what would be really cool is if they had like a hologram of like Palpatine. It was Ian McCrimmon, doing it, and it was just like a hologram, but it was like younger Palpatine, because in this period they're not showing him as the old dude. He's supposed to be like this young version of Palpatine. It'd be really cool if like Ian McCrimmon came in and just did a speech. It was like playing in the background or somewhere. Like that would be really, really cool. Like we see the Imperial like recruitment station. Like that would be really cool.
Fluff?
I would want to see Darth Vader. No, I'm kidding. I can't say that because Sage feels like it'll be forced every time if Darth Vader's in this movie. So...
Why am I getting shade? Well, why?
You're the one talking about it.
but McMahon's been the salty guy. And he doesn't matter. Vader.
You're just the shaker, Sage. You're the salt shaker.
Oh, boy.
No, but in all seriousness, I want to see... Yeah, I'm with Ben on this one. Boba Fett. Give me some more Boba Fett. We don't even know if we're getting a Boba Fett standalone movie at this rate because of what happened with Josh Trank a few years back. So the more Boba Fett, the merrier. The cameo I don't want to see is Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's too far away from the action. There, I'll take the Sage route and say that an Obi-Wan cameo will be too forced.
I'll say this: an Obi-Wan cameo would be forced. But how insane would it be if they had used this movie to set up some Obi-Wan spin-off movie, and he can't interact with Han clearly.
But I feel like it's more
But
likely they'll use it to set up a Boba Fett movie.
It would be forced. I totally agree, but I'd go nuts. I'd probably jump up beside Ben and spill my pop all over him and be like, yeah!
Oh my God.
I can't tell if you're spilling poppers or turning into a pterodactyl.
Here's the deal. Here's what you do though. You end the Han Solo movie, Solo: A Star Wars Story, with a recreation of the cantina scene. You've got Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo. You've got Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan, and you got Zac Efron as Luke.
Oh, hell no. I honestly, I know that was rumored a while back that maybe it would end in the cantina. I hate that idea.
I do too.
Oh man.
I want very much to hang up on you right now, Ben.
I know you do.
The Red
I know
Letter
you
Media
do.
guys joked about that. They're like, what if they just like had Alden Ehrenreich sit down as if that was supposed to be the next scene was in him sitting there.
Could you imagine if they go to the cantina and Alden's there with Chewie, and then you got friggin' Winter Soldier guy there, clean shaved as Luke, and then you have like Billy Bob Thornton as Obi-Wan Kenobi. And it's like Star Wars, the original trilogy remake coming 2023.
Oh,
I'd be
boy.
like, oh my God, no, I'm
And
done.
there's
I'm
literally
done.
rioting in the streets.
Is
Then I
this
would
a
go
Sage
back.
nightmare that we're listening to? Is the Sage having nightmares right now?
Oh my God, I would throw something at the screen. And
You
then point
lost
to
me
Ben.
at Billy Bob Thornton. Like, that's
No,
where it went off the
he grabbed me.
Like, up until that point, it's like, okay. Billy Bob Thornton?
Pull that out
I
of
would
your-
go subscribe to Alex Becker's channel and wait for him to upload a video called "I Told You So."
No, this guy would love it. Alex Becker would love that because he's like opposite. day on
Who's
that
this
dude's show.
Alex
He would love
Trebek
it.
guy? Is this the boycott guy?
Yes, that's one
Is
of the several.
Ah, fuck him.
Mike,
Mondo, who are your two characters? Sorry, buddy, that got derailed a bit.
Oh my God.
Sorry.
You derailed it. Remember that.
Ben derailed it. I just continued from Ben.
You derailed it worse.
Oh, it's all my fault.
I actually would really like to see Boba Fett. I think that'd be really cool. I think it would expand on a very limited story we currently have in canon for him right now, and he's such a fan favorite. I think he kind of deserves that. The character that I don't want to see is Vader, because I love Vader. I just don't see him having a place in this film at all. Like, this is not a Vader film.
So I have one I want to see and two, because they kind of go together, that I don't want to see. And the one I want to see is never going to happen, but Cad Bane feels like he'd fit perfectly in this.
Yes.
And I don't think they have the balls to do Cad Bane. Sorry to sound all vulgar, but is he going to be mocap or CG, whatever? Just give us a cameo of Cad Bane. Have them walk past him. I'd be totally okay with that. And the two I don't want to see is 3PO and R2, and I think we're going to see them, and that just pisses me off.
yeah.
I don't think you need them. This isn't George Lucas doing it anymore, as much as I wish George was still around. George told the stories through the droid's eyes. That's the way he looked at it. You don't have to do that anymore. And you're really not. You just be shoehorning them in there.
But the droids would be cool, man. We need more context of what they were up to in between the two trilogies.
No.
They went in the Star Wars Legends. They went on a bunch of adventures, and we don't know much in canon.
Look,
Do you know what the place for those cameos are? In my opinion, I say have an R2D2 and C3PO comic, and have in the background things happen that are in the movies. Don't have it be the other way around.
Look, they're running away from some guy named Stoke, and they stole some Snoke, and they stole some money from him or something. Jake, have you done yours yet? Have I missed anybody?
No,
Jake,
I
you
have
done?
not.
Jake, go
I
ahead.
have not done mine. I'm gonna do the ones I don't want first, and they are yours, Sage. I just do not want to see C3PO and R2. I think that I get it. They're beloved characters. I think the cameo should have happened more in 7 and 8. Like where they should have been. I think they need to be big I think one of the biggest mistakes of the new trilogy, and I understand having BB-8 in there as a newer droid, but they are hallmarks. They're characters that can be replaced by any actors along the road. It's people filling costumes. I mean, no disrespect to Kenny Baker, who, rest in peace, or Anthony Daniels
is 3PO though.
Yeah, I understand that, but it wouldn't be that hard to find somebody who sounded like him, is all I'm saying. And I'm saying that, if anything, R2-D2 and C-3PO should be the ones that kind of live on in the newer trilogy. I think that's a big misstep in the new trilogy, but I don't think they're characters that
what do you mean by that, Jake? They are living on.
No, I just mean like they need to. How in the first 6, it's like we are along for the ride with them, almost, like, more or less.
Let's be honest here. R2 and 3PO haven't gotten their due since like episode 2.
Yeah, that's
true. I don't think they've known what to do with them for a while. Like 3PO, on the other hand, now Last Jedi I think was perfect for 3PO, but R2 still like got one scene. I was like,
and that pissed me off. R2 has been benched for BB-8. I get it.
He got a great scene in Last Jedi, but it was just one scene, and I'm like, come on,
There's
guys.
more room for R2. Like, did R2 really have to go with Daisy Ridley there at the end? I know we want him, and Luke ended up dying, but you're telling me R2 wouldn't want to stay with Luke?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't make sense. But that's how I feel about the ones I don't want. I love those characters, and I think they should just be used differently. But I would love to see, and I don't think anybody said this yet, but I would love to see Jabba the Hutt, and I feel like it would really fit in that world. It would kind of lay some groundwork for how the two got tangled up in the first place, and I would like to see more than just a cameo. I'd like to see a few scenes where it kind of sets up his relationship with Jabba, like, oh, okay, well, I'll be back at some point and we can talk later, or something like that, where it's like they're going to do some business later on, and that's when Han gets
what if we see where Han drops his cargo?
Mm-hmm.
Here, I'm gonna drop a theory on you really quick. I think throughout the movie they're going to be working for Dryden Voss, but I think by the end we'll learn that Dryden Voss was working for Jabba the Hutt.
I would love that. That would be a great reveal. I could totally see that happening.
I think they kind of set that up with the one clip, didn't they? With the you know who I serve, or you know who I work for.
Yeah, I mean, Jabba's supposed to be like the biggest crime boss in the galaxy. Like, come on, he's got to have a place in this. And Han's story throughout the original trilogy largely revolves around him trying to get away from Jabba. His whole thing about that's his arc is New Hope, Empire, Jedi, is him pissing off Jabba and then having to pay the price for it.
I know people are going to be like, well, they signed multiple actors and actresses to 3 movie deals just to protect themselves, and yes, they do. But I'm telling you now, if the movie makes, $1.1, $1.2 billion and is well received, and they already have Alden under contract, and let's say even Ron Howard's willing to come back and do another, you're damn right we're going to see another Han Solo movie, whether people want it or not, and probably have it feature Jabba the Hutt.
See, that's what I want, though. I want them to do a trilogy, but it's not a Han Solo trilogy. It's have Solo be a Solo, then the next one's Lando, third one be Boba Fett, and have all 3 of them tied together at the end.
Yeah, it could happen. It could happen. All right, time for us. We really need to get moving here because we got 14 trivia questions to get to. I have an announcement. I want to address people for a second. Not really an announcement. And that is this. God, for the love of God, take your boycott shit and stuff it up your ass. Like, look, I'm not saying you have to love this Star Wars movie. I don't love The Last Jedi. But you don't just stop loving something because, oh, well, that movie was bad, so now I don't love Star Wars anymore. It's almost like it's like your kid comes home and he messed up at school. He got suspended because he punched someone and he shouldn't have, and he really hurt somebody. Are you gonna stop loving your kid? Yeah, I don't love you anymore. I'm gonna put you out with the trash. Like, come on, give me and the whole Legends fans and Canon fans, and I know Ty Nelson, who we're gonna see in a couple weeks, did a really good job at trying to bring the 2 fan bases together. but I seen a post, and I have to yell at it, and it's they did great things like introducing a new force power with Luke projecting himself across the galaxy, and I'm like, that's not new. That's not like literally. Fizz, did you not just send me through completely illegal terms the audiobook Legacy of the Force Inferno?
I can neither confirm nor deny that I may have done exactly that.
Okay. It happens in that novel. The exact same thing. And so to the canon fans that are getting on Legends fans, and to the Legends fans that are getting on canon fans, can we not just love Star Wars and admit that we're not going to love everything that comes out, and that we can like and dislike certain things about the universe and still realize we have this incredible thing, whether it's stuff that's not being made anymore or stuff that is being made still, that we at least have it, and it's better than not having it at all?
Well,
it's just driving me nuts.
People did the same thing when the prequels came out. Like, they loved the original trilogy, and when the prequels came out, and in their opinion, they thought it was garbage, they completely just kind of gave up Star Wars. They're like, you know what? I just don't like Star Wars anymore. And that's why I don't get these people that are like, oh man, this reboot of a thing, like the Ghostbusters reboot. Oh man, it's raping my childhood, like exact words from some people, because they didn't like this iteration. It's like, okay, you can always go back to the original Ghostbusters and rewatch it if you want. It's always there. It's never going to change. And I feel the same way about Star Wars. If you don't like anything that's happening in Star Wars right now with this sequel trilogy, or if you don't like the prequel trilogy, or if you don't like Forces of Destiny, then guess what? You've still got your 3 original ones that you did like, or whichever parts of Star Wars you do like are always going to be there, and you never have to stop liking them because something different comes along that you don't like. It's part of life. If I'm
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, in my life, like, okay, so something bad happens one day, and that's part of my life. It's a string of days that makes up my life. Does that mean all of a sudden that I just don't like my life? No, I'm like, oh, I have these great memories from other points in my life that I will never forget. They're cherished memories, people I love, all this jazz, and none of that will ever change.
I just think, focus on the positives, focus on, there's always going to be a positive in something, even if it's small. And I just think that will improve your demeanor. Like, if you are not happy about something, then you're miserable. Like for some of these Star Wars fans that are boycotting, it's like, instead of focusing on the negatives, which way too many people do in the age of social media, focus on what you like, what you enjoy, what makes you happy.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm.
Bless your heart, Jeff. I wish I could be more like you.
Very, very well said, Jeff. I think, like, I'll try to be quick here. Like, when you're talking about, I am very careful a way I talk about these type of things, because I don't want to come out and say you're not a fan, because that's something that's said too much. People are constantly going back and forth. If you like these new movies, you should be ashamed of yourself. You're not a fan.
You're not a true fan. You're not a true fan.
And then on the opposite side of that, people are yelling at anybody that says anything bad about the movie, saying, if you don't love these, you're not a fan. Like,
you're not a true fan either.
Shut up, both of you idiots, and listen to yourselves. And I don't want to say, but at the same time, if you haven't liked anything Star Wars since 1980, 1983, then, I mean, it's not my position to judge, but maybe you're not a fan anymore. Maybe Star Wars just isn't for you anymore. I'm sorry, but it's just that you need to face the facts. There are other franchises out there.
So let me interject here for a second too, and say that you mentioned these people that say it killed their childhood. Like, look, Star Wars.
No, I said raped.
Either one.
Raped and killed.
The use of the word rape is important here, Mondo.
Okay. Well, either way, some unpleasant things have happened to your childhood. Okay. So, like, the point that I'm trying to make, God dang it.
Somewhere McMahon is eating some salty McDonald's French fries.
Nope, laughter. Laughter is what I'm doing right now.
Okay. So, apparently...
Take 2, Mondo, go.
Apparently some salty things have happened to some people's childhood, too. But the thing about it is, when you think about your childhood, you think of like not just the movies, especially when it comes to a franchise like Star Wars. You think you're going to get the toys, the events of going to see the movies, the memories of these individual things and playing. We've talked about it on this show. The memories that some of these things hold for us. And I'm sorry, no matter how bad or how much you like or dislike these current films, Star Wars didn't get a hold of the Infinity Crystals and snap its finger and delete that crap. Like, it's still there.
Oh, God.
I've never heard them referred to as Infinity Crystals.
The one thing I don't understand is people going, well, they need to remake this, or they need to remake that, because that's not my Luke. And you know what? I don't necessarily agree with what they did with the Luke in The Last Jedi, but that is the canon Luke. I accept that for the canon Luke. I hope no Star Wars movie ever gets remade. I want this to be one of the franchises that says, no, you're not touching it. These are the movies. You can build on them. You can go to a different galaxy. You can go to a different timeline. Don't touch these movies. Even the ones I don't like. Don't touch them.
I thought for sure you made a post somewhere about them. They need to remake The Last Jedi.
No, definitely not.
But
I wouldn't be against the executive producer's cut by J.J. Abrams.
Where they take out everything you don't like.
Executive produced by J.J. Abrams and Sage.
All right, let's move this on here. We got a episode 9 spoiler here that we got to get to. Jeff, give us 5 minutes, and then we'll start the trivia championship. It's a short trivia one.
Just let me know when we begin.
We're starting the spoilers now. So, a Reddit user by the name of Fools, FOOSLS.
All the best ones come from Reddit.
But, okay, the interesting part about this guy is he had some of the Last Jedi stuff right. More importantly, he had a lot of the Rogue One stuff right. But he also had a lot of the Last Jedi stuff wrong. So, fair warning, what you're about to hear could be true. My bet is 99% it's not. So it claims it comes from an early J.J. Abrams storyboard. Possible when you look at how early storyboards get done. And I'm not going to go over the whole article, but this is the gist of it. The storyline, episode 9 picks up 5 years after episode 8, according to this guy, which I'm okay with. I'm thumbs up.
How many? Yeah.
5, half a decade. And I'm okay with that because I do think they need a time jump. And essentially, the First Order rules everything. There's no big group that can oppose them. They're the ones who are in control. Kylo Ren's personal task he's been doing is he's been going and finding, with the Knights of Ren, Force-sensitive children and eliminating them. Which, again, might be dark, but I'd be okay with that. Again, I'm stating I don't believe this, but I'm okay with it so far.
Good old broom boy.
However, the massive...
The broom boy. I was about to say, I don't like how you said to this point. Makes me worried about what's to come.
Well, I want to put this out there because I actually like this concept. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm sure some of you guys are going to hate it. I'm pretty sure McMahon's already in his car on the way over to beat me up for even reading it, even though he doesn't know what I'm reading. The concept behind the movie is this. Kylo Ren is in like a jealous rage once he finds out the truth about Rey having a child. And he's in this jealous rage due to some Force vision he has, and it turns out the child is his. Now, before everybody's like, oh, Reylo.
When did that happen?
Okay. This is what it goes on to say. It's not like they had sexual intercourse. Is that it's a Force child that's created during The Last Jedi when they physically are able to touch hands in something we've never seen. I'm going to ask this.
Gross.
Wow.
Apparently when they touched hands, it created a Force child, whatever.
Sex. Force sex.
This is what I'm going to ask you, though. Is it any more far-fetched than Anakin, the Chosen One, coming out of nowhere? Is what I would ask. And
Mommy, how are babies made? We touch hands, sweetheart.
There's about to be a whole new category of porn.
Right, and I feel like people are going to jump all over this because it's a rumor and it'll probably not be true. But my argument towards it is like, How's it any different than how Anakin came in? Please tell me.
Because that was
Fight me.
cooler
There's my
and
argument.
better.
Fight me. Well, okay, so unless you believe in God, which is essentially their storyline they went with, a virgin of the Force, Anakin, like, to me, it's no more far-fetched than that.
Okay, so here's the difference for me. I think there's just something more, for lack of a better word, beautiful about the picture of the Force going, okay, we need a one to carry on or do something amazing later on. So we're going to impregnate this random woman. There's
Killing all the
something
younglings.
There's something way better about that than going, oh, these two people touched hands in a Force vision and a baby was created via that. Force sex is weird.
Anyways, that was the leak of the story, and that he goes on this chase, and their goal, kind of like Boba Fett and Empire hunting down Han, is they're trying to hunt down Rey and this child, and they end up on a water planet. And this is where it all goes to me. Hell to me is there's this description of these picture. Crap, what's the battle called in Star Wars Battlefront 2 and in Battlefront 1?
There's a lot of battles. Got to be more specific.
The one on wow, I'm drawing blanks right now.
Kamino?
No, the sand planet.
Tatooine, Jakku.
No, Jakku,
Jeddah?
that's it. What's that battle called?
Battle of Jakku.
That battle of Jakku. Okay, wow. You can tell you're drawing blanks when. So the visuals in the Battlefront 2 game are amazing, and they describe it as picture a battle like that happening over an ocean planet. And to me, that would look badass as you see Star Destroyers or whatever crashing into this gigantic ocean, almost like a Manon-like planet. And anyways, it comes down to Kylo hunts down Rey, catches her, and Leia gets in the way. And that's where it all went out the window to me, because I think Leia is going to be dead from the beginning of the movie.
No, there's
I think everything's just messed up.
So that was out the window for me. But I'll tell you right now, and I'll get hate mail for this, I'm sure. I am not against that when they touched some sort of, miraculous thing happened through the Force, because Luke seems desperate for them to not touch in that moment.
Kylo, you are the father.
Look, I'm just reading what someone else
Look.
wrote.
I've been saying from the beginning that Rey's not a Skywalker, but she will birth a Skywalker. That's going to be the next that we're going to catch up with, we're going to catch up with the Skywalker saga maybe in 10 years after they're done with all the spin-off trilogies or whatever. We're going to come back, and there's going to be a new person, boy or girl, and that's going to be Rey's kid, and that's going to be the next generation.
Yeah, possibly. It sounds like most of you guys are against the idea of this Force baby. I, for one, am not, because I don't look at it as any different as Anakin. I'd be okay if something like that happened.
I'm just saying that if that's what happened, they touched, and she got pregnant, he needs to learn to use a sock or some tissue. Just saying.
Oh my god. Wow.
Or if
Fizz,
you're like me,
you've
you
been
just
mum
don't
on
know.
this.
If that happens, I am taking whatever snack I happen to have purchased this film, and I am proceeding it to dump it all over your head.
Same.
Yeah, the Leia thing killed it for me, though, which is why I said 99.9%. Not true, because I'm pretty convinced they're going to start the film with Leia being dead.
I mean,
Or
that's
some
the
sort
only
of
thing that would
funeral.
make sense.
All
Like,
right. Someone want to invite Jeff back in or tell Jeff he's good to go.
Fluffy!
He doesn't have to listen to Force touching babies anymore.
Of all the people, I kind of wish he would have heard that. Just to get his response.
Clearly, it's, maybe it will happen, but I would put, 99.9% chance on it not happening. The only reason we even read it is because he got some of the stuff for The Last Jedi right, including Snoke's death. So, and for all we know, maybe that was why the Jurassic Park guy got fired. Maybe it was his storyboard.
Whoever presented that storyboard needs to get fired. That's all I'm saying.
That's a giant storyboard.
So
this is random, but I just
stupid.
I have been needing to pee for hours. Like I've been drinking. No. I've not needing to pee, but I've been drinking so much water that I've been worried that I have not been able to pee, and I literally thought about it like really hard for like 5 minutes ago, and all of a sudden I have to go.
Please don't.
We'll
You shouldn't
for you.
overthink this, man.
No, it's like my sheer brain power made it come about.
we will give Jake 2 minutes here, and we'll start the trivia match.
Okay, BRB.
Wow. So
The best thing, Sage, while I was off air for a few minutes, I look in the Mixler chat real quick, and I see Kylo and Rey will procreate. It's like, okay, come on, okay.
Don't go down there. Don't ask questions, Jeff. Just
Alright.
go with it.
Okay, and just go with the flow.
it's gonna be hilarious if we're all sitting there at the end of
Believe me.
2019, and it's like, holy bleep.
Wherever I will be, I'm like, okay, I'm heading to Toronto. I've got to murder Sage.
I'll be like, I cannot believe I drove to LA for this.
I like the idea. I'm not gonna say what since Jeff's here. I like the idea. I'm for it.
You're wrong.
I really like the idea of some sort of never mind.
Not
And
all
Jeff's here,
opinions are valid. Let's just put it that way.
And for that reason, I'm out.
No, so what I would love to happen, and I'm not gonna this isn't like spoiler territory, Jeff, so don't worry. But what I'd love to happen is just if we're gonna have something just that ridiculous, I'd love to have like a scene where instead of Maury Pokovich, it's like Jar Jar Binks, and then he just like rips open a piece of paper.
Did you just say Maury Popovich?
He did. I knew you guys would react this way, and in my head, I just don't understand how it's hardly any different at all from what happened.
Well, I think that's stupid too.
Well, I think you're stupid, and I think you're salty and saucy. So what are you gonna do about that?
You stupid head dumbbell.
Fish, you don't like the prequels. You're not a true fan. You're not a true fan.
Anyone who endorses this plan is not a true fan.
Jake, are you back? Save us.
I still maintain that Shmi perfectly well knows who Anakin's dad is. She's just embarrassed to tell him.
Well, if you ask Jeff, it's probably Snoke.
How
sick would that?
You're gonna give me crap about this for a long time.
Yeah,
I would actually not be against that. Snoke and Shmi, I could ship that. Everybody's like, "Oh my god,
you may have a problem."
Snoke is Dark Plagueis.
Why? Why?
You may have a problem.
Sorry, Ben.
Stop. Get some help.
Get some help. Find your own ride back from the airport, then. Jeez, how dare you?
I'm just. We need an intervention. When I get there, stuff's gonna go down.
Pardon me. That must be the longest pee ever, Jake.
He really had to go.
Oh, Ben, here's a question I got for you. Do
God.
you guys at the SWU know anybody that actually gets to see the movie tomorrow night?
No. But we might know somebody that's going to be seeing the movie before the rest of us see it.
Cans?
No.
Or whatever? No.
I will give no further details.
Wow. As we continue to kill some time here for Mr. Damon, we didn't get to talk about the Star Wars book series that was announced. It's a young readers series titled Flight of the Falcon. I will give this question to you guys while we wait for Jake. do we need a Star Wars novel series that's meant for adults again, like we got during the prequels? You had New Jedi Order and Legacy of the Force, and then you had Fate of the Jedi after the prequels. Do we need something like that going? Well, we have all these movies coming out, Ben.
Sorry, what was the question?
I don't even know what to say to you right now.
Thank you, Thomas.
Yeah. Do we need an adult book series like New Jedi Order, Legacy of the Force, or Fate of the Jedi while these new books are coming out, or while these new movies are coming out?
I think we definitely need that. I mean, I never got into those book series back in the day, but like I like the idea. I would get into that nowadays. Like I would be involved because I've enjoyed all the books, well, at least most of them. So, you know, it's cool.
We got Damon back yet? Damon?
I'm back. Not only did I pee, but I made dinner.
Damn it, Jake, we only gave you clearance
You didn't
to pee.
say you would do that.
All right, boys, it's trivia time, and this is how it works. You will submit your answers to me personally on Facebook. You'll be given 10 seconds to answer each question.
Good
That's
Lord,
right,
I'm
no
losing.
time to Google.
Who's going to lose first? Mondo,
So what
McMahon, or me?
happens? What happens is we have. Wait, Mondo, are you even in a position to answer?
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure. So what happens is we have 7 round 1 questions. The 2 lowest scores from round 1 will be eliminated. We have 2 rounds in total. Once we get to round 2, it's quite simple. If you miss a question, you're eliminated. You're out. Even if you don't answer, you're out. However, if everybody was to miss like the first one or the second one, the game would still continue. So it's probably going to be a short trivia game, and Ben's defending his title. Also, tonight's trivia is exclusively Star Wars The Phantom Menace.
Yay!
Oh, shit.
Alrighty. Question number 1. Which prequel trilogy film was not shot on digital?
Man, if y'all don't get this, it's bad.
Considering what the topic is, yeah, this was a throwaway question.
It's a
even
softball,
believe you
as
right
Sage
now.
would say.
I'm gonna be honest here. If y'all don't get this, y'all just stupid.
So,
You don't
will
get
Mondo
this, you're not a
answer
true
correctly?
fan. Oh, Mondo might give a Mondo answer. We'll see. Oh,
Hmm.
nope. Everybody said episode 1. Jurassic World. He said that after episode 1.
Star
so
Wars
everybody-
Episode 1, Jurassic World.
Everybody has a point.
The Lost World Jurassic Park.
Question number 2. What was the working title for The Phantom Menace?
Man.
To me, this is another softball. Even though it's a behind-the-scenes question, it's a softball. We're just waiting for McMahon to answer. Alrighty, we got answers in. Jake Damon says The Phantom Menace. That's incorrect.
Wait, no. That was for my last question.
Oh, I don't have a new message for you. It just says The Phantom Menace, man.
Oh. Well, I
Whoops.
don't know if I have
You
it.
have to hit enter, Jake.
I haven't said the answer yet, so Jake, you got 3 seconds to put an answer in.
Come on, Jakey.
N question mark A, not available.
That's what I meant.
Okay. Jeffrey White says Jar Jar's Big Adventure. That is not the answer we're looking for, but it was used at times in reference to the movie. Good that you got that though. Close to Jeff's. Mondo says Jar Jar and the Bandit of Wizards. And we have
What?
we have
I
the 2 guys.
I
had-
corrected it. I corrected it to Jar Jar and the Band of Wizards, not
Oh,
Bandit.
okay. Well, you have Bandit here, so
I know. Underneath it has Band with the star.
and
do
the
you
2
think
guys
that
that got it right are Ben and McMahon with The Beginning. which is correct. Star Wars Episode 1, The Beginning. All right, question number 3. Who are the first... You don't need names, but you do need a description. Who are the first 2 characters to die in The Phantom Menace?
Like living beings?
Yes.
That's a softball.
Yeah, it's a bit of a softball, Jake.
That's specific enough for you?
All right, so we got 4 correct answers with the pilots on the Republic ship, which is correct. And then we have Bondo, which I mean could be correct depending on your point of view. Those ugly fuckers.
Boo.
They weren't that ugly. I mean, you know.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder?
Well, pressure's against Mondo now.
I thought the lady pilot was pretty hot.
How many laps are in the pod race?
This depends on which version.
Actually, it doesn't.
Yeah, take that, Ben.
There's the same amount of laps in both versions, just the laps are longer.
Was Ben crying?
Longer.
Everybody says 3, which is correct.
Where are the hard questions?
Don't say that. Then it'll get hard.
These have been shockingly easy, and I'm a little concerned for that.
How many planets are in the Phantom Menace?
Oh, that they visit?
Wait, that's a legit question?
Yes, how many planets are in the Phantom Menace? Yes, that they visit.
No, Jake. No, not Jake. Damn it. I give up.
I got to think about this.
Well, you got 5 seconds.
Ah,
5, Porg, 3, 2, 1. All right, we got answers in. And everybody says 3. That's correct. Might be heading to some overtime already.
Big sigh.
Alrighty. Where does Darth Maul say his first line in the movie?
How specific do you want this?
Planet.
All right.
I can give you a chance to put in a different answer, Mondo.
Oh, did he say
Although
McDonald's?
He said through his mouth.
So McDonald's, right?
he's not wrong.
5, Porg, 3, 2, 1, and
Hold on.
0.5. And
Oh my gosh.
You can do it through his mouth.
all right, answers are in. We got 4 Coruscants and Toys R Us parking low behind the Chili's.
Yep. That makes. After all the dastardly deeds are done.
McMahon and Ben have not missed yet.
Yo,
They have been shockingly easy.
I'm a bit surprised you got the last one, though, Fizz. I thought that one might confuse you.
The Coruscant? No,
Yeah.
it was the balcony.
Alrighty. The last question, round number 1, is what was the North American release date of The Phantom Menace? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, Porg, 3,
Wait, no.
2, 1, and time is
I'm almost done.
up. All right. So Jeffrey White says May 21st, 1999. That is incorrect. Jake Damon says May 15th, 1999. That is incorrect. McMahon says May 19th, which is correct, but there's no year. And Ben says May 19th. Ben says not May 19th, but there's no year.
There is now.
And
So I think points should go to those two, and then one to me for being the closest.
And Mondo said sometime a long time ago when gas was cheaper and Taco Bell was greater.
He's not wrong.
Give nobody points. The date should always include the year.
Yeah, nobody gets points. And only Mondo will be eliminated. We were supposed to eliminate 2, but we'll eliminate the 1. Mondo can still give answers, though.
Oh, no.
So remember, you guys miss a question here, and that's it.
Well, rip me.
Rip you what?
Alrighty.
Rest in peace, me.
Poor
Here
Jeff.
we go.
Jeff's life literally depends on this.
This is championship time.
It's gonna
here.
go like to ridiculous difficulty here now.
Damn,
How
man,
many
that was-
planets? We're starting. How many planets is Palpatine seen on during the Phantom Menace?
Physically, hologram, or both?
Both. Three. Still waiting for an answer from Jake. 2. 1. Okay, answers are in. And McMahon, Jeff, and Ben say 2, which is correct. Jake has said 1, which means Jake has been eliminated from trivia. That's gonna do it for Jake until the Outer Rim.
As you can see, I re-answered with the correct answer with an asterisk.
Mondo answers, I hope you get the shits and get stuck in traffic wearing a new pair of pants. That's not nice. Alrighty. Next question up. 3 left. 3 people left. How many planets is Darth Maul seen on during the Phantom Menace? All right, the 3 people that are left have answered, and they've all said 3, so they're all moving on. And Jake said 19 plus a small moon. I'm still waiting for Mondo's fake answer. Are we counting when he gets cut in half as 2?
Well, he gets cut in half, not the planet.
All right, how many huts are seen during the Phantom Menace?
Oh, God.
We're waiting on an answer from Jeff. All right, answers are in. Jeffrey White says 1, which is incorrect. Jeff will fail to win his championship back. Jeff has been eliminated.
Rip, Jeff.
I, honest to God, don't remember any others.
And Ben and McMahon say 2. That's right, there were 2.
Gardola the Hutt and Jabba the Hutt.
Gardola?
Yeah, she was in the background. Or he, or whatever.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was Nemro, but I knew somebody was with him.
Jake Damon answers it was an entire village of huts and nobody was living in them.
I'm glad you didn't ask me to name them then.
Which is very close to Mondo's who the fuck counts the buildings in a movie? Gold, man. Just gold. We're down to McMahon and Ben. I would never have guessed McMahon would be in the finals of a
Thankfully,
Phantom Menace trivia.
Except for that last one, they've been pretty easy.
Because I remember Gardola from the Clone Wars. I did not think there was that one in the Phantom Menace. Sorry, carry on.
Not her first appearance. She was in TPM.
If you had have asked us to name them, I'd have got it wrong.
True or false? Liam Neeson wore a wig and a fake beard for the Phantom Menace.
Oh no. I honestly don't know. I answered just because I want this to be true. I want my answer to be the true one.
Your answer to be accurate.
That's what I meant.
Jake
yeah.
says purple with a hint of orange. I don't even know what to say to that. Mondo says, don't matter. He still looks better than 3/4 of this world. He could wear stilts and a bikini.
Oh, God.
That's a disturbing visual.
Jeff said false. And Ben Hart says false. The answer is true.
What?
It is true.
No.
That he wore a wig and a fake beard during the Phantom Menace.
What did
the
McMahon say?
documentary. Well, you're killing it. McMahon said false too, so nobody wins yet.
I thought it was just one that was fake. I didn't think they both were.
No, it's two. They say.
Does the carpet match?
I literally just watched it. It's called The Beginning, anyway, the documentary. And has anybody found Liam's wig yet? Is the beard in any better condition than the wig? Something like that. So
I thought I knew the hair was fake, but I thought the beard was real.
So
yeah,
it might not have been a full fake beard. It could have been stuff they added to it, but it absolutely is in the documentary.
This is another Sage screw job right here.
Oh,
but at least he screwed us both, so the game continues.
Alrighty. What are Anakin's first words to Obi-Wan Kenobi in The Phantom Menace? Oh my god. Oh my god. All right.
What?
All right, so answers are in. Jeff didn't give one. Mondo said, "Are you my daddy?" Jake said, "Can you stop touching my butt?"
He asked for Anakin's first line, not Padme's.
McMahon's was, "Go fuck yourself." And Ben said, "Hi, you're a Jedi too. Pleased to meet you." None of you are correct.
What? No.
His first words are Qui-Gon's in trouble.
He tells that to the pilot.
And Obi-Wan is right there. He tells it to both of them.
He's not talking to Obi-Wan. He's
talking to everybody.
Wait,
Go rewatch it, Ben.
I thought that was only in the novel, not the movie.
It's in the movie.
No, I ain't let you get away with this.
Captain Panaka said Qui-Gon's in trouble.
Yeah, Panaka said
Obi-Wan
never said
didn't say
anything.
it, but that line is from the novel.
Anakin didn't say anything until Qui-Gon got on the ship.
Sage has been eliminated.
Yeah, maybe.
Need a new trivia master.
Sage is about to just turn into dust and vanish.
This is. Oh man, Sage is an Infinity War.
Look, you want audio proof? I will provide it right now.
Right now, huh? Like, I agree that line was said before it was said on film. Like, but the first thing I remember hearing was Captain Panaka saying Qui-Gon's in trouble.
You could be right.
Oops. Oh man, this is a great show. I love this.
Maybe to turn it up, Ben.
Hold on. It's coming.
Panaka.
Oh,
Well,
snap.
that's audio proof. Audio proof that the Quizmaster was wrong, and your champion is right. Therefore, still your Star Wars Wastelands champion is Ben Hart.
The only way that would make this any better is if Dominic Jones just came on and dethroned him.
Wow.
Which would happen.
Wow. Yeah, it's weird. I even looked that up earlier, so I don't know if it's in the novel or.
You should have run it past me first.
Yeah, so that you knew the answer anyway.
Ben is your Star Wars Wastelands champion, and his next opponent is Johnny Attack of the Ninja Penguin McCormack.
Yeah.
It's been a couple years since he's done that podcast.
It has been.
He still is known as the Ninja Penguin for forever and always.
So yeah, we're. Do you have to go, Ben? I'm assuming.
Not quite, actually.
Oh well, we're gonna talk about some Avengers, so stick around. It's time to get to the Fizz. Where are we going?
What? I guess we're going to the Outer Rim.
Yes, we are. See, he was ready. Sort of.
I wasn't expecting the pitch.
So we're going to the Outer Rim. I'm not going to necessarily read these in order. We're going to start off with the Disney or Comcast buying Fox. What it means for X-Men, Deadpool, and Fantastic Four going forward. Let's go around the table first. Who do we actually think is going to buy those Fox properties? Fizz, I'm going to start with you. Is Disney still in the strong position? Are they going to get it done? Or is Comcast going to sneak in here and F this thing up?
I mean, they're going to try and sneak in and screw things up, but the fact is an all-cash bid is... I mean, you can say all you want, but this is something that I learned in the office. Very much so. An all-cash offer is a one-time payoff. A stock option offer is as high as you want it to be as long as you're willing to hold on to those stocks. And Disney stock is going nowhere but up. So what's the difference? Is it like 1.2 billion, something like that difference? It's not a huge number, but it's not a... Like, the difference in the offer is only a couple billion, right?
That sounds about right.
So, I mean, a couple $1 billion cash today, or the fact that Disney stock is going to be worth a couple billion more in a year or two, you take the stock, because that stock's not going to go down ever.
Yeah, I think what Comcast is trying to do, they're making a bidding war here. Like, what they're doing is I think because they're competing with Disney, they want Disney to spend more money on this deal. They want the price to rise and rise and rise, so that, like, if their opponent wins, they'll lose money in probably in the long term. So either that or Comcast is really desperate for a change in their corporate structure. Now, which is crazy, like not too long ago, about 7 years ago, they bought NBC Universal. Like it was approved by the regulators. They finally got a big corporation. They became a big conglomerate. But yeah, realistically, I do think Disney will buy 21st Century Fox, and the Marvel Cinematic Universe fan in me wants that as well, because I want more unique, jolly characters in the MCU. And I know our good friend Mr. Jake Damon really wants that, right, Jake?
Oh yeah, totally. Okay, so here are my thoughts. Disney is just a more reputable company than Comcast in general. Not to even mention the fact that Comcast is having to borrow money to even have a say in the matter. Disney, not only would they take the properties that are being bought here and do something good with it potentially. I mean, I'm not saying Comcast couldn't ever, or it's impossible for them to, but it just makes more sense all the way around, just like objectively speaking, for Disney to take characters that weren't necessarily in their arsenal before, even though it's a Marvel property, and to integrate it with these other Marvel characters and things. Like, you got to mesh them together. that's how it's supposed to be. That's what people have wanted for years. I mean, there's people that don't necessarily want it. They're perfectly content having the X-Men stay in their own place and the Fantastic Four staying in their own universe and whatever. But I, as a fan, want to see all these people together. And looking at this bidding war here, I almost want to laugh because Comcast is scraping everything they can get their hands on to do this. And from their point of view, I would say it would be a pretty smart move to get these properties, sure. But Disney, I'm sure, is just sitting there waiting for them to bid the highest amount they can bid before they go, okay, we'll just bid like 1 billion more than that, and bam, it's ours. Or I forget who I was talking to, but just say, okay, we're gonna do 85 billion and just get everything, no questions asked, and Comcast can't even come close to that. So, I'm looking at the net worth for these companies, and Disney is worth 92 billion. Comcast, it says in February 2014, the company agreed to merge with Time Warner Cable in an equity swap deal worth 45.2 billion. So not even like just about half of what Disney's worth, basically, and that's with two companies merged together. So if you look at the players of this game here, it's a little guy versus big guy, and I think the big guy should win, and I think it will win.
I think it's funny that you said that Comcast was only worth 42.5 billion.
45.2. That's merged with another company.
Okay. So that sounds to me like they're not even worth what they're bidding.
Exactly. That's why they have to take out loans. Like all of Disney's are what, stock options and out of pocket stuff.
So
here's
something else that's interesting is after announcing the potential acquisition of 21st Century Fox, Comcast stock is actually down because I think some investors are actually afraid of that, and there's actually quite a few analysts that actually believe that if this were to go through in favor of Comcast, it could kill Comcast. Because even though they would be getting a lot, that would be a lot of debt to put themselves in. And it might, for the kind of company that they are, they might not even have, like, the capabilities of climbing back out of it. Because, they would be in debt almost, double what they are now. Because we don't know what kind of interest would be on those loans.
Because I remember Disney's stock dropped by just a little bit. Comcast's drop was a bit bigger, and like 21st Century Fox's stock just like grew, like big growth for them.
Well, as it should. I mean, you all of a sudden have two guys bellying up to the bar saying we're going to pay big bucks, and the opportunity to get in on this. If you can get enough stock to get a piece of that Disney stock option, you're damn right you're going to do that. I mean, you hit the point there. The stock drop in the last 5 days for Comcast, they started trading Monday afternoon, $32.39 a share. This afternoon, stock was down to $30.50. Yeah,
that's a big drop, man.
Like that's huge.
For the period of time that it dropped in, for sure. It doesn't make sense to me. Some other company, I think, was said to be in the bidding war a couple months back, and every time somebody else kind of peeks their head in, like, oh, now it's this company against Disney, I snicker, because it's like, okay, but then they're going to drop out because they realize it's not worth it. Like, even if this is the smartest decision they can make as a company, as far as getting properties, it's a stupid decision to make as a company because of the amount of money that they're going to have to pay back whoever they're borrowing it from. And it seems like way too much of a nightmare to count it as feasible. They should be putting their money into what they do best, which is, TV networks and their TV broadcasting stuff. That's their main area of expertise. And I feel like if they want to expand what they do, they need to take smaller bites. They can't just go all in. If I was the CEO of Comcast, I'd be like, okay, let's just take this a little bit at a time here and not be stupid with our money.
Yeah, Comcast is literally the worst. I'm not even kidding you. In 2017, they were voted America's most hated company. No
Is
joke.
that a fact?
That's a fact.
Over EA?
Yes.
Over EA. Over EA. Can you believe it?
After
Over
the loot
EA,
boxes?
Comcast, the United States' most hated company. And, a lot of that has to do with the fact that I've heard the joke about someone was thinking about getting a job at Comcast just so they could fix their own cable because it would be faster than going through customer service. No joke.
Wow.
So Comcast is literally the worst, and it could spell disaster for 20th Century Fox. But it's not going to happen because Disney is on the warpath now. They are on the path to ultimate control, world domination. All right? 10 years.
That might not be good.
We're going to be, happiest place on earth everywhere because Disney's going to own everybody and everything. And there's no one's going to stop them, all right? No one's going to stop them, not
Ben.
Comcast.
So one last thing, and then I'm pretty much, I'm done after this. Is I was reading a little bit on this last night, and it sounds like right before the turn of the year, 21st Century and Fox and Disney have already had an agreement, and both sides are already currently working on just what needs to be filed, certain things that need to be done, basically dotting the I's, crossing the T's, all that fun stuff. So, I mean, has it been documented that 21st Century Fox is even considering or even really listening to this offer?
Well, I mean, technically, unless they have a signed contract of sale, I think they legally have to listen to the offer.
Well, I mean, they don't have to listen to the offer.
I'm saying legally
you'd be
it
dumb
has
not
to be presented to the stockholders.
Oh,
Unless they have a signed, unless they have a signed document of intent with Disney for the sale. Which
if you're
seeking outside buyers.
If you're Fox, you shouldn't really care about who is buying it necessarily, because the whole goal is to get rid of something to make money.
Yes. Yeah.
To make a profit.
Let's move this to the more interesting part of this conversation.
I find this very interesting.
This is interesting.
Let's say Disney wins, which they will. Eventually they will, one way or another. Well, I mean, the other thing is, they're buying debt. Good luck, Comcast. You're buying debt. Good luck. If Disney wins, what happens with Deadpool, Fantastic Four, and X-Men? Your not necessarily your picture perfect way that you'd want it done, but the way you think.
This is if Disney wins?
If Disney wins, what happens with those properties?
Go ahead, Jake.
Oh, no, you can go first, man.
All right. Well, in the short term, these films will come out as planned. We'll get Deadpool 2, that's this month. We'll get Venom, whatever's in the short term coming out like in the next year or so.
Venom's Sony, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh crap, you're right. So it doesn't matter either way with Venom, but you know what I mean. Short-term plans will still be in place, but in the long term, I believe that that these properties, X-Men, Fantastic Four, that they will go to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, kind of like what Spider-Man did, even though that's Sony.
Well, we know that, but what would you do with the properties? How would you integrate them in there, and would Deadpool even have a future? Because
I don't.
Ryan Reynolds is pretty convinced it's done after 2.
I don't think Deadpool would really have much of a future, at least in film. I could see them doing a Netflix or like Disney streaming service show, like sort of like Daredevil, but different. Sorry, I haven't watched Daredevil. I'm bad of my comparisons here, but I believe that X-Men will be rebooted into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, kind of like Spider-Man was, and because it would be a good way to integrate Scarlet Witch with the X-Men. I feel like if they could effectively integrate her with, the lore of the X-Men and the Brotherhood, it would be very fascinating. And the other one was Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
And I think Fantastic Four would get some sort of reboot in the 2020s. That would be in the MCU.
Here's something else, too. If Comcast were to somehow weasel their way into winning this war, not only would you have to spend all this money up front for these properties, you would also then have to spend money to use them. Movies are not cheap, especially of the kind of caliber that fans have expected out of these kinds of films that these properties coexist in. So, to me, that doesn't, to me, that's another point that it doesn't make sense. And I feel like if I am if I am Fox, I'm like, because I'm sure, I don't know if shareholders would get, like with the Disney merger, I don't know, if shareholders would then get Disney stock as payment for them, or how that would work, or how that would be divided. I'm not sure how that would actually work.
I can actually answer that one.
Okay.
According to a report in December from Variety, the sale would have been for every one stock in Fox, you would receive 0.2745 Disney stocks. So you would need 4 shares of Fox to get 1 share of Disney.
Okay. So that's still considering probably how much more a Disney stock is worth than a Fox stock. Well, I'll say that 5 times fast. That's probably pretty fair. And that would be very interesting to see how that would play out. I don't know. I just don't see a world where this works for Comcast, because I don't think that if they were to win this bidding war, they could do these properties justice.
Yeah.
Putting these numbers into perspective, I know we're talking stocks, and of course it's a very fickle market, but today, this is the numbers, okay? 21st Century Fox stock closed at $37.70 a share. Comcast stock closed at $30.73 a share. Disney stock closed at $99.97 per share.
So 3 times as much.
3 times as much. And Comcast stock value was $7 less than Fox.
As much as I like the silly season talk, Mondo, what would you do? What do you think will happen with the properties if Disney gets it? Is it as simple as everything gets rebooted and slowly integrated?
I think so, but I think it would be a very, very slow integration. I don't think it'll be like snap of the finger, here you go, because I think with a lot of the Marvel movies, I think, what phase are we in now? 27 or some crap like that?
Phase 3.
I think phase 3 of the Marvel films is pretty well planned out.
Or phase 4.
I would say we're into phase 4, yeah.
Okay. So I think this current phase is pretty much well planned out, and I think they planned it out, pretty methodically. So I think if this does occur, I think you maybe start seeing what's especially the X-Men. I think you may see animated shows on Disney XD. But I think with the cinematic part, I think you don't start to see integration until phase 5, where they maybe reboot them. Hell, they may even do they may even redo the origin films for the X-Men or something of that, and then bring them together and really set this thing off the way that they seem to like to do this. It's a very interesting idea, and it's something that I truly hope does happen, because especially with the Fantastic Four, I think the films have been so crap that I think just a lot of the casual superheroes / comic book fans may just assume they're just shitty superheroes. Like, there's just no way around it. But that's not the case at all. Like, the comics were really good. They had some really good stories, but they just never did them justice.
Yeah.
So
it stinks that like the X-Men, sorry to interrupt Mondo, but it stinks that like the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, like they're not really in the public eye. Like, of course the hardcore fans will always adore those characters, but like now it's more about, in the public view, it's the Avengers, it's Spider-Man, it's Thor, it's Hulk, it's Captain America. It's not really the X-Men or the Fantastic Four. I get what you're saying, Mondo.
I should interject there and say that, the animated rights were actually never part of the deal. The television rights. Marvel still owns the television rights for everything. It was only film rights. It was only film rights they sold until the first Fox co-production of a television product was Legion. That was the first time they partnered together, and it's still a co-production.
So is that how they got Daredevil into the MCU?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Daredevil had also had his film rights revert, but they choose not. The reason that the only time because the X-Men animated series that have come since the films, Evolution, Wolverine, and the X-Men, were all Marvel. But just like the comics, they've made a conscious decision not to emphasize products they don't hold the rights to.
Yeah.
That's why the Fantastic Four comic series was canceled. That's why even the X-Men series has dwindled compared to the boom it was at in the 90s.
Yeah.
Well, and you're absolutely right. And I was actually about to touch on that. You talk about the X-Men boom in the 90s. You had X-Men video games. You had a plethora of X-Men comics, stories. The animated series was really popular. It was a very, very popular franchise in the comic book realm of, fandom. Like, it really was. But I don't know. Like, I just feel like something I've kind of noticed about the Disney, like the animated stuff, is it, and not all of it, but a lot of it has, like, and kind of like you said, because of how they emphasize it, but a lot of their animated stuff has, like, live action counterparts that they don't necessarily follow the same stories, but they're, they kind of have, like,
visually reminiscent of.
Yeah, and that is why I actually kind of suggested that maybe maybe they do like an X-Men animated series, because then a couple years later, they'd be able to have the movie, and maybe kids, and I think this is why, and Disney is genius with marketing. Absolutely genius. They do things that a lot of people don't even realize and put into perspective. And put them into perspective as to how it is that, sorry, somebody was walking, I'm in my car in my driveway.
I'm like, what is going on right now?
Somebody was walking like in my, like past my house, and I was kind of concerned. But sorry about that. No, the point that I'm making is, you put an animated series out. It takes like maybe 6 months to a year, or maybe a year and a half, to produce some of the episodes and stuff like that. Then in a couple of years, once the movies start to come out, you have some of those kids that may have watched it. They're a couple years older. Now they might be interested and more able to sit through that movie so they can grow with it, so to speak. And that's kind of the marketing stuff that Disney does that I don't think a lot of people realize that they do.
Ben, we haven't heard from you in a while, man. Where do you think it goes, the three properties, if they're bought by Disney? Is everything just rebooted, slowly integrated? Are these your new Avenger movies going forward?
I mean, right now we're looking at Avengers 4 shaking things up and possibly introducing a completely new Avengers team. And I think that's what Marvel's focused on, is connecting it all and thing. And that's what they're doing best right now, is connecting all that, building the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And any Marvel properties, Fantastic Four, X-Men, even Deadpool. I could honestly see Deadpool fitting into the MCU somehow, some way. You know, I don't think he's going to be as rated R as he is now, but stranger things have happened. Like, I think technically speaking, you know, Pulp Fiction is a Disney movie. Like, I think technically speaking. So,
Yeah,
like, I don't think that they're going to go for that, but I think, I would like to see the MCU get crazy down the line. And what else could get it crazy than bringing in X-Men, bringing in Deadpool, doing crazy stuff and having it go off the rails a bit and do different things. And they're going to want to build that universe. They're not going to want to go, oh, this is over here, this is over here. That their strength, the Marvel and Disney strength, is connected universe. And they're going to want to build on that.
So I keep hearing people say that if Disney had Deadpool, that the Deadpool movies wouldn't be as R-rated. But, Bob Iger said that they would stay rated R, and I feel like there's no reason that they couldn't stay as raunchy as they are. Whether
and Deadpool would be the one franchise where you wouldn't have to reboot it. Just keep going with it. And Deadpool the whole time would be self-aware of the fact that he's changed hands. He'd be like, oh, Disney owes me now, and I can say the F word. Like, he would be all about that. And like, oh, I'm in the MCU now. Like, it would be hilarious. Like, it would be great. Like,
no, it would be great. I feel like there's two different versions of Deadpool they could have, and you could obviously have Ryan Reynolds play Deadpool. It's the same character, whatever. But in his own movies, he stays R and raunchy. And then when he crosses over and does something with Spider-Man or just something with whoever in another MCU movie, makes a cameo, there is humor that you can use that isn't necessarily not kid friendly, that is still Deadpool to a T. And all you have to do is go watch Spectacular Spider-Man or whatever. When Deadpool shows up, he is joking around, he's still Deadpool, but it's humor that's fit for a kid's show. And I feel like you can do something that isn't off the rails raunchy that parents wouldn't want their kids watching.
I mean, I point to the prime example of that. I mean, you hit it right with Spectacular Spider-Man. He did have an arc there, but Deadpool is the narrator of the Lego Marvel game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if that's not marketed for kids, I don't know what is. And I've played the game with my nephews many times. Not a curse word comes out of his mouth, yet every time Deadpool speaks, I can laugh and say, yep, that's Deadpool.
Same thing with Deadpool and Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Here's the deal.
Well, what I would say, sorry, Ben, but I was going to say, like, what I would say would be perfect is if for the self-aware humor, if Deadpool makes a cameo, say with Spider-Man or whoever, and basically kind of in the style of Samuel Jackson before he gets whisked away there at the end of Infinity War, have him be like, mother, and then have him like cover his mouth with his hands, be like, oh,
do you mean just like Sam Jackson disappearing right as he's about to drop a patented
now
exactly.
If I'm not mistaken,
there's curse words in Infinity War.
PG-13.
I remember looking over at Zach.
PG-13 allows for one F word.
Oh yeah, have him do the one.
So I think
I don't even think you should. I think it'd be far more hilarious if somebody else does it while Deadpool is standing there and he just gives them like I'm supposed to say that.
Yeah, I think
Ben's on something here. I not to steal your thunder, but it would be perfect for him to, like, in the middle of a battle, just be like, F that, and then have him look at the screen and be like, there's your one F word, Disney.
No,
my question would be...
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ben.
Well, I was just going to say, I think the joke needs to be that Deadpool shows up in every movie and he's begging to say it. And Kevin Feige just walks into frame like, no, sorry, Deadpool, you can't say it. And he just walks off. Like, and he's like constantly doing that over and over again.
Are you okay with somebody else playing Deadpool is what I was going to go with.
I'm just gonna say no. I feel like Ryan Reynolds literally is born to play Deadpool. Like, no, he understands. Not only does he play the character well, but he understands the character more than I think anybody besides Rob Liefeld. And I feel like it's such a perfect fit. Like, it's better casting than even Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark. I just think it's perfect.
It's hard to say that after we just said, well, someone else can play Han Solo, but there's been a time difference, right? Harrison Ford started playing Han Solo in 1977. It'd be a little weird to see somebody else already playing Deadpool.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan Reynolds could play that character for another 30 years easily.
He's on the record of saying he has no interest in playing a PG-13 Deadpool. He wants rated R. And I'll give Ryan Reynolds this. He held out for a very long time. It's not like they just came to him a few years ago about Deadpool and were like, so do you want to do the movie?
Yeah.
He was bugged and until they got the green light to do the movie that they wanted to do, it didn't happen. And I'm with you guys. I think it sounds hilarious having someone come in and be like, you can't say that, or someone else be like, oh, fuck. And then Deadpool be like, I think McMahon pointed out, be like, are you kidding me? Like, that was my spot. I think it'd be hilarious. But Ryan Reynolds is a hard ass. And if he doesn't like it, he's not doing it.
So I feel like Ryan Reynolds, he says that, and I think maybe if presented with the exact right script, something that he thought would be a funny way to integrate the character, I feel like he'd agree.
Yeah, I think it was more the fact that, he lived through Origins. Okay, and that was that pissed on everything Deadpool stands for. I mean, he's the merc with the mouth, so what are we going to do? We're going to take away his mouth.
Pissed and shat.
It immolated it. That's right. I'm busting out the big words.
I'm not disagreeing with you on that, but I mean, until something happens, we don't know. But let's just hope that if it did happen, Disney's willing to back the Brinks truck up to not only Ryan Reynolds to please him to come back, but back it up to Hugh Jackman too.
Like I said, I think Jackman is going to Christian Bale this, and no matter how big the Brinks truck is, say no.
Here, I'm gonna make this prediction right now. At some point in the future, there's going to be an Avengers movie with Deadpool and Wolverine, and Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds will be playing those roles.
I was going to say that might be the only way you get Ryan Reynolds to do a non-rated R Deadpool.
Oh, it would be in the crossover. Like it would definitely be, Avengers.
Oh, I'm not talking just Wolverine. I'm talking. I think one of the only ways that you'd be able to get him to put the Deadpool costume on for a non-rated R Deadpool would be, okay, Ryan. Well, how about this script, which is kind of like all you guys pointed out, which is really good, by the way. Maybe you should email Disney for when they get it. But here's Hugh Jackman. He's willing to come on board. He's going to do it. How about now? That might be one of the only ways to entice him to get him in.
Yeah.
I would go as far as saying I would put money on there's more of a chance of Hugh Jackman coming back for Logan / Wolverine, whatever, in 2 or 3 movies than there is of Ryan Reynolds making a non-rated R Deadpool.
I don't know. I disagree with that. I feel like Ryan Reynolds, if given the opportunity, would be like, okay, that's fine. We'll do it. It works. It's funny. Whatever. I think he's more about the laugh than anything. And as long as you keep the spirit of Deadpool and don't bastardize him like the Origins movie did, you're good. But I feel like Hugh Jackman, I feel like I love him as Wolverine and Logan. I love him. But I feel like that's something I would be okay with as far as recasting. I feel like you could find somebody that fit the role better. Like in the comics, he's only 5 feet tall or something like that. He's like this hairy little dude. And Hugh Jackman.
It should be reminded the world that the original Wolverine cast was Bob Hoskins. Okay, yeah. I'm just saying, that's Wolverine. Like, that was
basically Warwick Davis with claws.
Okay, he's a little taller than that.
But just imagine a really stocky, like little hairy guy with a cigar.
I don't think people are ready for that, though. I really don't.
People say that. Zach says the same thing. I love you, Zach, but like people say, oh, people aren't ready for the Fantastic Four again. If Disney did it,
so I disagree with that. I think
and did it right. I'm saying if Disney did it and did it right, whether it's Fantastic Four or this version of Wolverine, I feel like people would just be ready for it because Disney did it and they liked it. That's my take.
See,
I say they just back up an infinite amount of money, maybe go to Comcast for a loan or something, and get them both back, because Ben's idea of Deadpool with Reynolds in a movie with Wolverine with Jackman, come on, that sells. I
guess, but like if you've seen Logan, that's such a perfect end to the character just in general.
It is, but it's a different universe.
I think there's a way to play it that if and again, it would need the perfect storm, because you'd need everybody. It can't just be Hugh. It can't just be Ryan. You would have to get Patrick Stewart, and you would have to get Ian McKellen, and the opportunity is there to cross the dimensional. It doesn't need to be
everybody, because you can recast everybody else but those guys.
If you get those four on board and present the story in such a way that you built, this has to be an entire phase built to this. That at different points throughout the saga, you pierce through the worlds. You pierce through, because we already know about the Watchers, so that ability already stands. But if you have something starting to pierce through, you build up to this final enemy. Now, whether that's a Skrull or a Doctor Doom or whatever the hell you want it to be, it doesn't matter. But you get to the payoff that is Avengers, and the X-Men come through a portal, and it's those people. You can have Hugh and Stewart and McKellen go back across. You can keep Ryan on this side because he's Deadpool, and what the hell, let's have some fun over here. And then recast them with your characters in this world.
I like almost all of your ideas, Johnny, but I don't think
Jackman come back just for that.
I just don't
for
think
one movie
that's happening.
Well, you made it sound like he'd just be coming back at the end.
No. It would be the entire, like, this would be a beginning of the film thing. Like you'd open up the portal at the end of whatever comes before.
I don't think he comes back as one movie because of what Jake said. I think if he comes back, he's just gonna be like, okay, here goes 10 more years of my life. Line up the Brinks truck because I'm gonna come back and do it properly. I think also Jackman cares so much about the story when some actors don't, but he does.
I just think it's time for a fresh recasting across the board for every X-Men character. Like, I love Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen, but they are getting old, and I'm saying these movies aren't even going to be made for another 5 years or whatever, and they need to go past that.
Look at the cast we've got for the MCU. Like, I'm sure you could probably nitpick that, but there's been so many great castings in that. Like, they're all almost perfect. So,
only one has been recast.
Yeah, but. Yeah, so...
Sorry, two.
Yeah,
two.
Yeah, Don Cheadle. But, like, for the most part...
Sorry, 3. Fuck.
Oh, boy, what's the one?
You're destroying my theory here. But they're the cast...
You're forgetting the obvious ones. Who's the random one?
All right, Red Skull and Hulk.
Studios casting department is brilliant. And if you set them a task on recasting the X-Men, they're going to do an absolutely phenomenal job. No question.
Yes.
That's lovely and all, but I really do want to know this question. Who is Sage thinking of?
Are you thinking Red Skull?
Like, all I can think of is Red Skull.
No, because he said
Hulk.
4.
Doesn't count.
Right.
Doesn't count.
Okay. Technically, they recasted Spider-Man because Spider-Man came into the universe and they stopped what they were doing.
That doesn't even count.
Doesn't count. Spider-Man from previous Factor was a different universe.
Then you can't count X-Men. X-Men doesn't count as recasting either. Then not Hugh Jackman, not McKellen, not nobody.
No, I'm not saying within the universe though. I'm saying like recast them as characters. That's all I'm saying. Like in the MCU, there's only been the 4 recastings, but that I'm talking about. Those are characters that were introduced in the MCU already, not in a separate universe.
Huh?
Like Don Cheadle is a recast of somebody else.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. No, but in terms of X-Men lines up more with the one I was thinking of, and that was Andrew Garfield out, Tom Holland in.
Yeah. I mean, it's all recasting.
Starting fresh.
It's all recasting, but I think what they're talking about is like,
well,
they
then if
started
that's
off.
the case, Cap's a recasting because Dolph Lundgren played Captain America in the 80s.
Exactly. Like that's. Yeah, exactly.
Nick Fury is David Hasselhoff.
David
It's
Hasselhoff.
not the same. It's not even close to the same.
But it's recasting a character is basically what he's saying. But and not to hate on Zach more or anything, but Zach, what he says is that there is just no way the Fantastic Four would work in the MCU. And
hang on, Jake. I got to cut you off. That's going to do it for Ben tonight. We're going to continue this discussion. But Ben, where can everybody find you? What's up to the rest of the week?
Speaking of Mr. Zach, sometimes wrong Arnold. We're going to be talking about. We planned to do it last week, but didn't happen. So we're going to be discussing our Avengers Infinity War thoughts on the show this week. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is our 4th anniversary show.
Wow.
Coming up.
It is.
wow.
I'm glad you know that. I'm glad you know the anniversary of the
Oh,
show.
the only reason I know it is I'm supposed to be on Tuesday with you guys. And Zach's like, yeah, Ben's not feeling good, so we're going to do it with the anniversary show. But we'll pretend like I knew it the whole time.
Yeah. Another fun fact, the hashtag Backyard Watch movement is also reaching its 4-year anniversary really soon.
Dang. Yeah, it started right there along with IPC. Yeah. So that's pretty awesome. So we'll be celebrating that, talking Avengers, and then, of course, that'll be Friday. I could start a little bit early so we can have a bit of a longer show, or at least not get cut off early as far as it goes. And then for Thursday, it'll be standard Star Wars Underworld podcast, but we've got put the notes together. There's a ton of Star Wars news to talk about, clips, TV spots. You guys covered a lot of it tonight, but if you want to hear a different perspective, check us out, StarWarsUnderworld.com.
Any of the red carpet stuff, or
we'll be doing it while the red carpet is going on, so that's going to be interesting.
Really, I could have swore the red carpet was at like 5 Eastern tomorrow.
No, it's 5 Pacific, I think. Pretty sure it starts at 5 Pacific. And
that makes more sense.
We start at 6 Pacific, so.
Tell you what, they got a nice Millennium Falcon being built for that red carpet right now, and that's
kidding.
I did not think they would go that far to build a Millennium Falcon.
They just keep one-upping themselves. They had the X-Wing,
else.
They had the ATM-6, now they're going the full Falcon. That's awesome.
StarWars.com says 5 p.m. Pacific.
5 p.m. Pacific, so 8 p.m. Eastern. Thank you, McMahon.
There you go.
Well, Ben, until next time, take it easy, buddy.
Thank you very much. Talk to you guys.
Adios, Ben.
That was your Star Wars Wastelands trivia champion.
Damn straight!
Ben the Caveman. Wow. So we're going to hang on. Did anybody else have any last thoughts on the MCU before we move on to the next topic?
Well, yeah, I just want to finish my thought about the Fantastic
Four.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't agree with that, by the way. You can recast and bring in the Fantastic Four because the last attempt, Tranks thing, was so terrible. I don't even think people recognize it.
Awful.
And I mean, Captain America's in the other one, and they're not very good movies. The best part about those movies is Doctor Doom.
Well, I think the best part about that second one is the Silver Surfer. I thought he was great, but I just think that what he's missing is that if Disney does a good job with it, that's what sets the trend, and that's what makes the characters likable again. Like, people were like, "Oh, Spider-Man's never going to work again," or whatever. Oh, and it's too soon. But Disney is what made it likable again, and now everybody loves Spider-Man. Anyway, that was
I'm still torn. I'm still Sorry, 1 second, Mondo. I'm in the minority there. I mean, Tom Holland is great for the stories that they're telling. That's cool. But I was the guy that wanted to. I wanted to see Garfield go on. The second movie was terrible, but Garfield in it wasn't. Mondo, go ahead.
I think that I do agree. Where I do think we're a lot closer than people may want them to be about recasting some of these characters. But I do think it's going to take time. And I think that's one of the reasons, if they are going to recast these characters, Disney will wait upon receiving these franchises, is because, you don't want to just get them and then change them. Especially, I mean, honestly, with Wolverine, I mean, there's, I mean, and even the Fantastic Four, there have been recent films, in pretty recent memory, containing those characters. So, and I know you can say the same about Spider-Man too, but I don't know. I just think two different reasons. I think the first reason, or the reason with any of the X-Men characters you wait, is because they were so fan accepted and the fans loved them. At least half of them or a portion of them. And with the Fantastic Four, I think you wait to kind of give fans a little more time to forget the abomination that came before it. So I think both have a case that you wait for. If you're going to recast. If you're not going to recast those key characters in the X-Men, I don't think you have to wait. I think you can, use them pretty early on. If that makes any sense at all.
No, I mean, it does to me. I think another thing we need to remember, let's say that the deal goes through later this year or next year. The earliest you're seeing a movie is midway through 2021, and that might be early. Like that means, like, the only way that happens is if they're already at work on what they want the movie and the story to be, which they probably are if they get it, and and then you get a movie out then, and that's still 2.5, 3 years away. So there's that. Any last MCU thoughts around the table?
Nope.
No.
All right.
I'm hyped for the MCU to expand. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be curious what sort of future guys like Captain America, Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, all those guys have post Avengers 4. I think some will be around, but maybe not in the prominent role people are hoping for. All right, let's shift gears here as I look at my Outer Rim show notes. Let's sort of stick in the MCU. Boy, have any of you guys seen that Spider-Man bundle for PS4?
Nope.
I gotta tell you, I don't have the money for it. Yeah, I don't have the money for it. But oh my god, that is one of the best console bundles I've seen for any console in years.
The red
man,
with the
you guys,
Spider-Man logo on it?
yeah, and all the extras you get with it. And
Hold on,
man.
I'm looking it up.
I'm getting the collector's edition. It's not the console one, but like I am getting like a statue and some cool stuff.
Oh, that's cool too. I don't know if I'll do that for PlayStation or not.
Can somebody send me a picture? Because I just Googled the images and it's all different.
Fizz, let me send it to you first. I'm assuming you've seen all this stuff.
I have, yeah.
What's your take on it? Because, I mean, I've been waiting for this game for a while. It's one of the reasons I've kept the PS4, got with the bed. I know my kid will love it. I loved the old Spider-Man games. But something about this just, like, it blew me away more than most of the recent Gears of War stuff has blown me away, even Gears of War 3.
The PS4 has always actually done pretty amazing consoles when they do the special ones like this. I mean, there's this one here that looks pretty damn amazing. The Darth Vader one with the original Battlefront was pretty damn amazing, and I'm the proud owner of a Batman one that came with Arkham Knight.
Yeah.
So, I know they do great, amazing. I'm excited for it. The console looks pretty, and if I didn't already have one, yeah, I'd absolutely be pretty damn intrigued to get this one. But I mean, I've already got Batman. I don't need Spider-Man. So, I mean, of course, it's not at all something I'm going to be looking at buying. But the game, I'm so excited. I mean, I love Insomniac. Mm-hmm. They are one of my favorite game studios. And I'm excited. I can't wait. Everything they keep showing me makes me more and more hyped, more and more happy. Right? I mean, I can't. Oh man, like my hype level rivals Jeff's hype level, and that's saying something. Okay, when I can be as hyped for something as Jeff is hyped for something, I'm hyped, and I am so hyped. It's ridiculous.
Just McMahon,
level
like
of hype.
You're flying
Can anybody
around.
actually find a description of this? Because the only thing, like, I have a picture to show Jake. I don't know if anybody's shown him yet, but I can't for some reason find the exact detailed layout of everything that comes with the collector's edition. But to me, it's one of the best collector's editions I've.
Well, the collector's edition or the console? Because the console, I'm pretty sure, just comes with the base version of the game.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But the collector's edition of the game is Oh, it's something else. Console still looks badass.
Somebody
too.
send me a picture.
McMahon, like just the idea you're flying open world, web slinging as Spider-Man in an open world New York City. Holy crap, dude! It's gonna be great.
Yeah. I can't.
We had that before. I'm just saying.
We
I
did.
know with the Spider-Man 2 video game from 2004. I know, but this is up to date graphics. This is more realistic.
Oh, it
visually.
looks amazing.
Okay, that looks pretty good.
Oh my god! To me, this is the pinnacle of a superhero
Game.
video game box set. It just looks fantastic.
I'm worried it'll be disappointing.
Well, geez.
Well, there's your
Thanks,
negative side.
Captain Buzzkill.
Be
Wow.
realistic here,
So-
guys.
So, hey, so my phone is going to die like any second. So if I disappear, that's what happened.
Hopefully,
but
we can get
for-
to the next topic first. But yeah, go ahead.
But for pre-ordering the game, you get the Spidey suit pack, 5 extra skill points, early access of a bunch of crap. Oh, hold on. I thought this was going to show me the I'm on the actual collector's edition one. I see where it comes with.
This one actually shows all of the pre-order stuff you get there, Sage. But yeah, you get the bonus, you get the skin, you get a gadget.
Book.
I'm a big fan of any game that has skins.
Okay, so the collector's edition that comes exclusive in the collector's edition. You get the mini art book, the custom steel book, Marvelous Spider-Man statue. This is
That looks
revealing-
badass.
Well, I don't think they've actually.
Yeah, they haven't
revealed
actually
the statue.
showed. That's not the actual statue.
Oh, it's not.
No.
Oh, well, I would have been okay if it was.
Because isn't like the bottom of the statue like a spoiler or something?
I think so. I think the top of the statue is going to be what we get, but I think the bottom of it's not going to be what it is. And then Marvel Spider-Man, The City That Never Sleeps, 3 post-launch story chapters,
Yep.
new mission suits, and characters. That's pretty cool. I might actually pick this up just because I'm a sucker for steelbooks.
That's what I'm doing, Mondo. Yeah.
I never thought I'd buy a collector's edition for any PlayStation game, and I'm damn close. I'm almost convinced this might have my money.
I think this one's going to get my money, and I haven't gone out and got one of these in years.
Okay, well, here's something. I've pre-ordered 2 collector's editions from the Batman Arkham series before, and I will warn you guys, these pre-orders sell out. Like the local GameStop I went to, I pre-ordered the Spider-Man collector's edition about it was like a month ago or something, and I found out a couple weeks ago that like for that store they couldn't take any more pre-orders. It was sold out. So I checked. It may be different in Canada. I don't know, but I checked with your retailer.
Oh no, trust me, it's very much the same. When Star Wars: The Old Republic first came out, the collector set was sold out in almost all places at launch. There ended up being more coming, but I had to get mine from like a mom and pop game place. So I'm assuming we can probably find it somewhere, but it is what it is. Mondo, you still with us?
Yep, my battery is at 4%.
Okay, you should be good for this then. Jake, do you have a PlayStation or no?
I do have a
right?
PS4.
Oh, you do? Oh, is this
Yeah.
something you consider picking up, or are you not that invested?
I would say that if it gets bad reviews, there's no reason for me to pick it up. And if it gets good reviews, you betcha I'll get it.
Nice. Nicely done. Well, I don't know if this next game will resonate with Jake, but I know it resonates with the rest of us. Maybe it does with Jake. Mondo, I'm going to let you kick this off because we talked about this game, I believe, on the very first episode of Star Wars Wastelands.
Leisure Suit
And it's finally coming. Knock on wood. Someone knock on wood. Red Dead Redemption 2 is all I'm going to say. The cinematic trailer that they just released. Mondo,
So good.
where you at with that, man? I'm hoping you were as impressed as I was.
So good.
I am, and I'm excited for a reason that I think a lot of people may be overlooking. Not only is this a Red Dead Redemption game, which that on its own is amazing, but to me, what I'm also very excited to see, and you saw it graphically with that cinematic trailer, is, Rockstar has always been very good with the evolution of their product. If you look going all the way back to the PlayStation 1, hell, look at all the PlayStation 2 games that Rockstar did, and look at the evolution of them from, over time. Even look at the Xbox 360, with Red Dead Redemption, Grand Theft Auto 4, then you go into Grand Theft Auto 5, and that brings me to my point, is this is really going to be the first Rockstar game that we've seen since Grand Theft Auto 5. And I know that they're still updating that game from time to time, but let's be real with each other. The Grand Theft Auto 5 that we got on the Xbox One, PS4, and PC, it's basically the Grand Theft Auto 5 from the 360, just, beefed up. So I'm really excited to see that of what they do as to expand on that. And to do that and to have that opportunity with the Red Dead universe here, I think is going to be absolutely amazing. And you think about it, and I honestly do think that Red Dead Redemption 2 is going to be as successful as Grand Theft Auto 5 was.
It might be more successful. There's been a lot of people that have been clamoring for this game for, I think, I was talking in a chat the other day about it. I think the last game came out 8 years ago, which is a long time for a sequel for a video game, or a prequel. And I've always wanted one because, look, I love playing Grand Theft Auto with you guys and messing around, but Red Dead was just something else. It did something else, whether you were just screwing around or you were actually playing the story thoroughly all the way through. Fizz, since we talked about this so long ago now, one, do you believe that it's not going to get backed up again? And two, what do you think?
There's no way it can get backed up again. On October 26, 2018, we will be playing Red Dead Redemption 2.
Dude, I'm so hyped.
There's no question in my mind that we will be playing this game, come the celebration of the date of my birth.
Tomorrow, it's like, and Red Dead 2 has been backed up to like December 14th or something.
Oh, they'll pull a Last Guardian.
I'm gonna be like, McMahon.
Like, this is what the Last Guardian did to back in 2016.
I think this is different. I think it's Rockstar's MO. They announce the game, they get you hyped, and they give you a date, and then they push it back. And then they get you back on the hype train again, and they get you hyped, and then they push it back once more. It's that third time. But nobody does it like Rockstar. This is Rockstar's MO going back, God, all the way to Vice City. This has been their so MO all the way.
Because all these AAA, these big video games coming out this fall and this holiday season, they're all coming out before Red Dead. Like, you see a bunch of big releases in September, which is almost unheard of. Like, it's crazy. So what would happen if Red Dead is delayed? And that's why I don't think it will be delayed.
Like I said, there's no doubt. There's no question. It can't.
I think the other reason we won't see this get delayed is it's pretty heavily rumored that come E3, we're going to get not one, but 2 alternate editions of the game released. My guess is you're going to get like a collector's edition, maybe like how they normally, like, a lot of games now have the 3 tiers, and then where you pay an extra $10, get some additional content, maybe an alternate cover, something like that, and then I'm thinking they're going to have that 100 to 150 range, where maybe you're going to get a really cool statue, maybe a steel book, maybe some other things like that. That's kind of my idea at the moment, but I could be wrong. But just kind of based on some of the limited information that I've seen, that's kind of what I have an idea. And if they're that far into it and they're already putting stuff into that and they've got that stuff in the works, I don't see them backing it up at all. I don't see them doing that. And I just have a hunch that, like I said, those are going to be announced, and pre-orders will open during the Microsoft E3 conference.
Well, I love Red Dead, but I don't love it enough to buy a collector's edition to get statues of characters we hardly know. That's just me. Fizz, your excitement level for the actual game, though, and what you've seen, including the most recent trailer.
Through the roof. I mean, it hasn't, like, it peaked about 8 years ago and hasn't dropped a bit since. Oh man, like the ability to Red Dead Redemption 2 in 2018, you know, the graphical upgrades and the fact that Rockstar's always kind of been on the cutting edge of those things has me hyped. And the thought of, you know, like one of the big things in GTA 5 was the heists that took place throughout the story, which they then integrated into, you know, the online play. The thought of being able to, you know, plan and perform a train robbery is just,
yes.
Oh man, the options are endless. I think the way they're going to integrate, because I can't see how they don't leave that, how they leave that on, you know, the production room floor. Being able to plan out bank jobs in 1889, you know, there's so much more possibilities. They are endless, and the fact that, you know, yes, we have new characters that we're not totally invested in, but, you know, we weren't invested in John Marsden when we did Red Dead Redemption 1. So
Tell you what, they were talking about not for launch, but I was watching the IGN video on it a couple days ago, and I messaged our buddy Evo, and there's a very realistic possibility that this game gets an update that features a battle royal mode too. And some people are for that stuff, some people are not. But to me, I know everyone likes the big weapons and the building stuff, but man, a battle royal mode in the West is about as good as it gets. It brings you back to John Wayne days, and it just sign me up for this game. Am I wrong in saying I'm 99% sure John from the first game's in this trailer multiple times, is he not?
John Marston is definitely in this trailer.
I was unaware that he was in this game at all.
Well, nobody was
like
aware. This trailer is the one that said, you guys have you've asked the question, you've wondered long enough, is John one of those guys in the shadows in the first trailer? This all but says, yeah, one of those guys is John.
And it seems
he's
like
the one with the big scar on his, I think it's on his face. Am I right? I don't remember.
They have him. He looks like he's about to bite the dust. Obviously, we know he doesn't.
Yeah.
In the trailer, but does anybody recall when the first game took place? Because this game's in 1899, I believe.
1902.
1912.
So it was the early 1900s, because the end, like the very end, when you play as Jack, is in actually World War I era.
So then, yeah, it's probably 1912 then.
Yeah.
I think the game would probably be better if it was set in 1999.
Okay, it's 1911.
1911.
And then
so this
1914 was where you play as Jack, so that's 3 years later.
Because if memory serves, Jack was a veteran of World War I.
I can't remember. I just remember finally going and killing the bastard. So
I seem to recall coming back from the war is what set him on his path of redemption, is what he said. I could be wrong about that.
So it says here that 1899 is where Red Dead Redemption 2 takes place, and that it's the same year that the Blackwater Massacre occurred.
So
the good old days.
I'm so pumped for this game, Jake. I'm guessing you're not a Red Dead guy.
I'm not a Red Dead guy. Who is Red, and why is he dead?
Actually,
he's dead because I shot him.
I have a fun fact for you, Jake. Red Dead Redemption is not the first game in the series.
What's the first game? Maybe I've heard of it.
Red Dead Revolver, which released on the PS2.
Seriously?
I think that was 2004 it released.
It was, and had absolutely zero to do with the sequel.
Because I got Red Dead Redemption 2 from a used video game store.
Hold on a minute.
What? What?
You want to rethink what you just said there, buddy?
What did he say?
What did he say?
You got Red Dead Redemption 2 from a used store?
No. I got the first Red Dead Redemption.
But you said Red Dead Redemption 2.
Sometimes stupid stuff falls out of my mouth. I'm sorry.
He's salty. Forgive him.
I'm
We're all
just more like
salty.
the, excuse me, you have Red Dead Redemption 2, why aren't you sharing?
Because you're salty.
I'm not always salty.
You're saucy.
That I am always.
When you're not salty, you're saucy.
I think we need a good Doctor Who game and call it Blue Box Explorer.
I've considered getting what's it called? Undead Nightmare. What do you guys think of that DLC from the first Red Dead Redemption?
I never actually played it.
Oh, it's like a zombie thing.
I never actually played it
serves
because
no
it was
story
just
purpose.
more of a. To me, it was more like okay, zombies are popular, but what the hell? Why are they here? This game doesn't make sense.
Exactly. I think zombies popping up in Grand Theft Auto makes a hell of a lot more sense than Red Dead Redemption, personally.
Especially since we go around massacring large numbers of people.
Yeah. We haven't talked too much about the story for Red Dead. And to me, that's the most exciting part. Don't get me wrong. Horsing around with you guys online is going to be fun as hell. But
horsing
the
around.
Story, the story.
I really hope
is
you
what
intended that
is
pun.
most
It didn't
intriguing.
just kind of happen.
I hope it just kind of happened. I love those puns.
Yes, it definitely did just kind of happen.
Yes.
I love
yes.
horse puns.
I'm going to giddy up over it.
Wow.
Okay, that was
Name
forced,
more.
Sage.
That was a little forced, man.
It's like you're forcing Vader into Solo. Come on, buddy.
Oh, boy. Have we reached that point?
Back around.
Unbelievable. Wow. Well,
This is the best Wastelands episode I've ever been on.
gentlemen, I think that's going to do it for the night. Holy crap, we've had our first 3-hour show in hell, we haven't even had a 2-hour show.
This
in
is
ages.
longer
This is
than #InfinityPod, which was last Tuesday.
This is what Wastelands used to be, but like we just got a little carried away tonight. It
love it.
definitely.
The notes at the beginning, Sean's like, it should be an hour and 45-minute show, guys. Don't worry.
Actually, we're about 5 minutes away until we get to InfinityPod. Sorry.
We got sidetracked.
I learned a
couple of
long
times.
time ago while working on Wastelands that the time Sage says the show was going to be is not the time the show's actually.
No,
gonna
that's not true. That's not true at all.
be.
For the past-
Lately we've been good.
Lately, try like the last almost year.
Yeah, okay, but that's lately.
See, this is why I don't set times specifically for the Backyard Watch podcast, because I just know we're just gonna ramble about stuff forever.
Yeah, I just clear my calendar for the night when I come on.
So I want to talk about a new show that's going to be debuting on Channel 1138 here
Ooh.
next week.
Oh.
And that is the show is called Center Stage. Center Stage, and what we're going to be doing is, or what I'm going to be doing, is I'm going to be sitting down with various people who I've taken some time to line some interviews up with. It didn't, like, I was trying to figure out a way to integrate it in Wastelands without getting way off topic or just be stuck covering Star Wars. And there wasn't a good way to do it. So we intend to reach out to guys like Jake Damon, and he can give us maybe some insight in what he does for a career and how you can better at your, if he wants to give away some of his secrets, better at your computer graphicing art stuff, because I'm garbage at it. And we'll find out what's going on with him. We're going to talk with Chris Segal. We'll talk about how Channel 1138 got started. We might talk with all three of the Underworld guys at one point, hopefully. And they can get in on that. We have Ken Knapsack, formerly of Collider, and of Force Center, who is scheduled to come on. We have Dave McCrae, who's agreed to come on. And Mark Thompson's going to be coming, but I think that might be a Wastelands episode. So we have some stuff in the works. No set date. There's no set date for any of this because it greatly depends on when the other person's schedule
More like
fits.
Center Sage. Am I right?
So, and well, no, because it's not going to be about me. I'm just going to be the guy finding out about you. And he doesn't know it yet, but I intend to have McMahon as the first guest on there, and we can let the audience
He
relive
knows
some
now.
embarrassing moments.
Nice.
So
I'm very happy to hear that you got Ken to come on, because he's great to talk to. He's just, yeah, you're gonna have
he
fun.
is far more outgoing than I thought he would be. He's been forthcoming over the last year with some of the anxiety issues he's dealt with, and I reached out to him a couple of months ago, and I don't message him nonstop, and it's not like he messages me. But if I send him a message, he'll reply. So the 3 or 4 times I have messaged him, he's replied within decent time, and it's been decent conversation. So
Nice.
really excited to do that with him. McMahon might want to be around for that one because Ken Knapsack's a big wrestling guy, and we're going to dive a bit into that. So, yeah, look out for that. Center Stage. Hopefully the first episode will air next week, right after Star Wars Wastelands ends, as long as it doesn't go 3 hours and 14 minutes like this one. Wow, Fizz. Actually, I'm not starting with you. You're too salty. Jake.
Well, now
thanks
I will.
for joining. Jake, thanks for joining us tonight, man.
Yes, it's been a pleasure. This has been one of the most fun episodes I've been on, I think. It's just fun coming on. I love talking to you guys. Love talking Star Wars, Marvel, anything. Can't wait to be on again.
Where can everybody find you at?
You can find me on Instagram at Jake W. Damon or on Twitter at Jake Damon. And yeah, hit me up.
Well, awesome. Jeff, thanks for doing this tonight, man. Sorry that you had some hard luck in the trivia, but you'll have another shot at the championship. Where can we all find you?
It happens, Sage. Thanks for having me on the show. I've never laughed on this show more often than I have tonight, and it was awesome. But you can catch me right here on channel 1138, and it'll actually happen this week. I promise. We did not air last Monday, but we will air this Monday, the Backyard Watch podcast, this Monday live, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on channel 1138. Myself and my co-host, Mr. Eric Wall, who's played some trivia on this show a couple times, and we will be talking about the movie that Sage is starting to warm up to, and that is Rogue One, a Star Wars story. We may have a guest who used to be on channel 1138, and it's still kind of up in the air on it, but we may have a cool guest or two. So stick around for that. Find out this Monday night on the Backyard Watch podcast.
Aren't you forgetting something? Wow, I can't believe he's forgetting it. Jeff has a new show coming out on channel 1138 called The Red Snoke Diaries. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Wow.
I had to one time.
Did you really dive back to the
Damn it, dude. Darn you, Sage.
I know.
Red Snoke Redemption.
You're going to give me crap on the Snoke thing until the end of time, Sage.
The salty McFizzle saucy nuts.
He's gonna have sauce in
this
for
tonight, man.
the rest of his years.
Salty McFizzle saucy nuts.
Fizz McSalty. Thanks for doing this tonight, man.
Saucy McFizzle.
I say it at salty nuts. I say it at the end of every show, but this one it applies most to. It has been an experience.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Star Wars Wastelands, episode 148. Don't forget the red carpet. Last Jedi, yeah, right. Solo, tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern. And we'll see you next week for episode 149, where we get to dive a little further into those Red Snoke Diaries. Good night.